We are brought to you by Boss Bears Supplements. That's Boss Bears Supplements at bossbears.co. Hard work, consistency, and determination are difficult to sustain when your mind and body can't keep up. Fuel your body with what it needs to perform like a boss. Whether you're closing deals, pitching a new business idea, or training in the gym, Boss Bears take your hustle to the next level. Our ingredients are the highest quality with potency and serving sizes that are the gold standard in the industry. Check out all of Boss Bear's products at bossbears.co. They have apple cider vinegar gummies. They have ashwagandha. They have all kinds of supplements in delicious gummy form. They also have them in pill form if you don't want the gummies. I prefer the gummies. They are delicious, and I've tried the apple cider vinegar. They are very good. Use code Nicky at checkout to save 10%. That's bossbears.co, code Nicky. We are brought to you by Clout Power Supplements. That's KLOUTPWR.com. So here I have the protein, the Cravings protein from Clout. This one is the salted caramel. This is some of the best protein that I've ever had in my life. It's actually delicious. I like the salted caramel and the cinnamon swirl are my two favorites. Also, their pre-workouts are amazing. So they have the Karma Nootropic pre-workout. It's a nootropic and focused pre-workout. It's a lower stimulant formula, zero itch formula. It has 4 trademark ingredients, and has fully dosed ingredients. So far, the Arctic Cherry is probably my favorite of the Karma pre-workout. Also, try the Nero Aminos from them. And also the High Stimulant Mamba is some of my favorite too. And I really like the Arctic Cherry of that one. So go to cloutpower.com and use code Nicky to save 15%. KLOUTPWR.com. Code Nicky to save 15%. Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Nicky Free Podcast. We are back here with Tim Harris. What's up, Tim?
How's it going? It's been a while.
It's been a while, dude. Yes. So Tim's been on the podcast one other time, right? Two other times. I was going to say, yeah, it's got to be two.
It's like 2 other times, but yeah.
Okay, dope, man. Well, I really appreciate you being here. And let's see, you just went on a trip. Where were you?
I was on an amazing trip to Thailand.
Yeah.
I was there for about 3 weeks.
And how long have you been practicing Muay Thai?
I think now 3 years.
And did that play a role in you wanting to go to Thailand at all?
On this trip, yes and no wasn't the primary reason. But what really happened is my sister went to Thailand about I think last year. So she went last year, having a great time, sending our family all these videos and stuff. It's like, oh, that's neat.
Right.
And then summer rolls around this past year in 2023. My dad just retired. My mom, she's just kind of chilling.
Nice,
so
dude.
they just hit me up and hey, we're going to Thailand this Christmas. So if you guys want to come, just let us know, or say just let us know. But it's you're still gonna have to pay for your flight over.
Right. But they were they gave you the invite.
Right, and I was just I'll be damned if my sister goes, my parents go, and I'm the one actually indulging in Thai culture, and I don't go. So I was yeah, put me on the trip. I'm going with you guys.
You're the only one that actually trains Muay Thai, so that's something from the Thai culture. Yeah. That's pretty cool, dude.
So yeah, that's pretty much.
That's just how it started.
I decided to go. I mean, I was planning on going. I think this February if I wasn't gonna go when I did go. Right. But
and so you were there during Christmas?
Yep, during Christmas and New Year. So
that's cool.
Very, it's
so that's a long time.
Yeah, it was pretty. I wish I was there longer.
You kind of wanted to move?
I'm planning my early retirement.
I know, dude. I was gonna say cause how long have you been here?
Since I came back.
Well, I mean, in general, how long have you lived here? Did you grow up here? I can't remember.
Oh, no.
No, I remember. You're from the Midwest.
I'm from South Carolina.
Oh, South Carolina. Yeah, that's right.
I'm from the South.
I remember we talked about just the differences between the cultures, where we're from versus here.
Right.
So, yeah.
Because you're from technically the Midwest.
Midwest,
And
Iowa.
I spent like I dated someone who was in the Midwest, so I had like a good couple
little
of years
idea.
when like of the Midwest, so Wisconsin specifically.
Oh, so you totally Wisconsin's like literally right where I'm from. Yeah, I mean
Yeah.
I'm from Iowa, but like we're right up in that corner
Mm-hmm.
where Minnesota, Wisconsin, and Iowa meet.
Right,
So
exactly.
yeah,
But yeah.
but yeah, South Carolina. So then you've been here for a while. So then, because I was just gonna say, like, you go to a place like Thailand, and it's probably like, why do I live in Seattle?
Yeah,
You know,
exactly.
it's
So
like-
yeah, I moved. So I moved in Seattle.
which I
about
do
3
love it
years
here,
ago.
but there's things about big cities versus like you get the little taste of that like quiet, calm life, and you're
Right.
like, ooh, why am I not doing this?
So in Bangkok, where I was staying, that's more like city-like. So it wasn't necessarily quiet at all. To be
I was gonna
honest.
say, yeah, I
We
sound like an
were-
idiot because I don't know much about Thailand, but now you say Bangkok,
Right.
like it's like, oh yeah, that place is huge.
And there's
Right?
different parts of Bangkok, and even I don't remember all the neighborhoods, but we stayed in near Sukhumvit. And
Okay.
so that's kind of like the international area, so that's where all the foreigners go and stay, and it's like also, I want to say for lack of better words, the trashiest part of town, but it's like
Okay.
Vegas.
Right,
almost,
like
there.
Vegas,
And so
like trashy, but like there's a lot of stuff going on.
Right, and it was a lot of fun, and so that part wasn't. It's busy, but it wasn't like bad busy.
Right, right, right.
And so a lot of good food, and then
Yeah, so
price
I-
of everything.
So before because I really don't know much about Thailand actually. So like when I said, so like what is it like compared to Seattle? Like is Bangkok pretty comparable to like a big city or?
I think Bangkok is bigger.
Bigger
I
than
say I
Seattle.
think, I mean, it is
Yeah.
bigger. Bangkok is bigger as a city. As far as like comparisons between the two, well, one, it's cheaper, but
I'm sure the
that's, like,
culture's different, but
The culture is definitely different in the sense that when you the shops and stuff, when you're walking along the street, you kind of see a bunch of repeats in certain ways, but I think that's also because of the area where I was. It's catered to foreigners. But, I
Right.
mean, obviously you have
A lot of
your
tourism there.
restaurants. Yeah, a lot of tourism, a lot of, massages on, the corner. Like everyone's trying to, get you into their massage parlor.
yeah.
A lot of big malls there in the area that we were staying in. And
Okay.
So that was pretty neat. But again, a lot of American brands were in those malls, and so
Oh,
kind
yeah,
of
yeah,
catered
yeah.
to
I'm sure. Yeah.
the western part of the world.
Right.
But weather, definitely big difference. It was 90 degrees.
The weather would be a big reason of wanting to move, right?
I mean, I'm from South Carolina, and I can say when I go back, that sunshine does hit different.
Yeah.
And so when I was in Thailand and I was enjoying the sun, I was shorts and short sleeves everywhere, walking around.
I know.
It
It's
was
like here,
nice.
it's been like just this winter has been just not fun, dude.
I wasn't here for the.
Yeah,
well, I
you
guess
weren't
I'm
even here.
technically
You were
here.
like gone. But.
Right, because I even left. I left 3 weeks before I went to Thailand to go back home to South Carolina for Thanksgiving and stuff. So
Okay.
I've been gone technically since November.
Right.
And I came back. Oops, sorry.
Oh, you're good.
I came
You're
back
good.
January 6th. So
Oh yeah, so you had a nice long break, man.
yeah, it was a good 6 week.
What were some of the highlights of Thailand? What did you do that was?
Oh man. So the biggest highlight for me was training at the camp that I trained at for Muay Thai. So I went.
So you
to-
did do some training while you were there.
Yeah, I did.
Yeah.
If I was gonna go there, it wasn't like a full training trip because I'm there on vacation. I'm trying to make memories with my family at the same time.
Right.
But I definitely was going to tap into that, especially since a buddy you remember Ryan Butler?
Yes.
He used to live here and he would come to the bar.
Yes.
But
Yep.
he met Angela Chang, who fights in RWS and won championship, and I think she actually is under contract with one championship right now.
Okay.
But he just told me, hey, you should look up her gym and then maybe reach out to her and see about checking it out. And so I didn't really reach out to her. I just kind of showed up, and I was just like, okay, I would like to get some training. And the gym is called Luxuan.
And then you just kind of were like, hey, I know this guy. You know him. Like,
Right.
yeah.
All right. I mean,
Are gyms pretty open to that
They're-
usually?
I
I suppose some are more
yes.
protective and
I want to say yes, they're pretty open, like to the idea of foreigners coming and training.
Yeah.
Especially if you're in Bangkok, I'm sure that's not a very foreign idea because Bangkok is where a lot of foreigners will travel.
Right.
They are gonna do Muay Thai. Like I'm sure the idea.
And Muay Thai is popular, just
Right.
like I mean, mixed martial arts are popular in general, so they probably get used to people dropping in.
Right, but this gym specifically, they're just starting to kind of get used to the idea of foreigners coming to travel and like being in their gym. So I kind of showed up with the idea like they could turn me away, and I was just like, that's okay. I'm just checking
Right.
out the
So
gym.
you already had curbed your expectations, but hey, it's worth a shot. I'm going to try this.
Right, exactly. And I was just like, I'll just mention you, maybe Angela, is she like here? And then I can like talk to her and be like, hey, a buddy of our mutual friend of ours.
Yeah.
Just kind of.
But so you did get to train.
So I did get to train.
Right.
It was honestly the best thing that could have happened for me, like going there, because I was.
Did you learn like new things, or did it kind of invigorate your love for Muay Thai a little bit?
It definitely not. It's not like it ever faded, but it definitely like added to. Like I definitely. It made me want to go that much deeper with the sport and the martial art.
Well, I just say that because like I know for myself, like there'll be periods where like something will happen where I'll like, even with being a personal trainer now, maybe I'll see like a client make some kind of progress, or like, and it gets me back to like, why I fell in love with it in the first place. And then it kind of makes you like, or sometimes I'll even just like see like a picture of myself when I was like at my show last year. I'm like, oh yeah, let's go. Let's
That is a good way of putting it.
Yeah, you just get these little times where you really like, it makes you feel like, oh yeah.
It's a good reminder of why you're doing it.
Yeah, not like you ever fell out of love with it, but you know what I mean. Like
that was definitely a good reminder because while I was training there, I did learn a lot of new things, and a lot of things were catered to me because they did a really good job of working with me. Like basically the way that works is you get there, you work out for like, or you start running. Sorry, they send you on a run.
They just run you first.
That was the first.
Just fucking go run.
Right, that is exactly what happened.
You want to train here? Go run. Yeah.
The first day I walked in, because that's what everyone's doing. When I walk in, I'm just like, hi, I'm trying to speak very minimal Thai, and I'm just like, Angela, here, and he's like, they're a bit of a language barrier, so I'm using Google Translate.
Oh yeah, that's got to be tough too, man.
And thank God for Google Translate, by the way.
It's great, dude. We have these this couple that comes in the bar and they order, and he can't speak any English, but I don't even know where they're from. But it's so funny because he used a Google Translator with one of my coworkers, and I didn't know this till later. But when I helped him, like I don't know how I helped him. I just helped. I figured out like, he's like too, big, and I'm like light beer, and he's like yeah, and so I gave him like 2 large blondes. And so every time he comes in, I'm like, too big? And he's like, yep. But my point is language barriers are difficult.
Yeah, it seems difficult, but Thai, well, for me, I guess because one, I have the interest in the culture, but over the 3 weeks period, I've picked up quite a good bit of Thai, and I understand it's a lot more simple of a language, but when I say simple, not in a bad way.
Like you're not trying to be like, oh, it's such a simple,
Right, it's very much like effective, and like for example, the word want and need are the same thing, tangkan, and it's for us, if you say I want something or I need something, that's like 2 different ideas.
Oh, for us, that's totally like need is like you have to have it like to survive, basically. Like it's a need.
Right.
Where a want could be something frivolous, like hey, I want a fucking,
Louis Vuitton belt.
Yeah, I want a Gucci bag or something. Yeah.
And then like over there, it's like they just use the same word for it.
Whoa, that's wild.
Like I guess the idea is that you just have a desire to like have an object.
It's just desire. Yeah.
And I guess you probably convey its importance by using the word like mach or.
Also, a different word to convey like the importance of it. Like that's kind of cool, actually.
But it makes sense. It made me realize how overcomplicated English is, to be completely honest.
I wonder how it is, compared to like other, because I don't know any other languages.
I mean, I would say because I've tried, so I know Spanish, English. I tried to look at Italian and Romanian a couple of times, and Brazilian. They're all like romantic languages, so if like you pick up one, you can kind of get by understanding or at least reading the other. Like I can read a bit of Italian and Romanian and.
I always feel like
French
there
and
are
stuff.
a bunch of languages that are way like prettier than ours. You know, like
See, I feel like that's just because we speak English. Because I
Yeah.
bet you a French person is like our language is ugly. Well, actually no. I think
yeah, because we always think of French as like the most beautiful language.
Right.
You know, like
And I
it
feel
is
like-
weird though, because there's some languages where it's just like ugh. Like even like I'm like German, and I
Yeah.
hear like German language.
I'm
I'm
sorry,
like.
yeah, I don't like.
It's like the
German
grossest
sounds.
language ever. Like my
It
last
is.
name is Friedhof, which is a graveyard in
I
German.
like your last name though.
But I
You
do
know,
like my last name. I think it's dope. Yeah, yeah.
It's like that's the prettiest. One of the prettier German.
Yeah, but
words.
German's just like it's got so much ugly. I don't know. It's weird.
It's probably because of the or like the.
Yeah, it's always like such a weird. Yeah, it's just not. It's like a blunt,
Yeah.
and like intrusive, or like it's not flowy and pretty. Like French always sounds so like damn, you're trying to seduce me or what? You know,
Right.
like
Well, it's because I mean it's literally how the languages are classified. Like all those pretty languages are most likely romantic languages.
Right,
Like,
they're even
German
classified
is
as
Germanic, and English is also Germanic.
Germanic. Yeah, yeah.
And so I guess that's why. But yeah, between reading those other languages or the romantic languages and even German, it's over complicated. It's a lot harder for me to get into those. But when I started really picking up or trying to get into Thai, that wasn't too bad, to be honest. And
That's
because
cool,
the way
though.
that they will use a word is like, if I want 2 cinnamon rolls. Well, I guess
Yeah.
actually that's exactly what you would say. I want and then cinnamon roll like 2 or like
Okay.
like
I want cinnamon roll too.
or
Yeah.
I need to go to the store or I'm going to the store. It's just like I go store.
I go store. Yeah.
It's very very simple.
Well, sometimes I do think languages are like that, and then that's why when somebody learns English, they will say a phrase like "I want go store,"
Right.
because like in their language, that is how it would make sense.
And-
So they know the word for each one.
And honestly, that is
Yeah.
the best way to think about it. So if you take your stereotypical Asian or Thai speaker and they're trying to speak English to you, and like that stereotypical archetype that you get, like when you're watching on TV, seeing them like in their gas station store, that is
Yeah.
the grammar for them. And so
Yeah.
if you think in that context, and then you try to speak, that language, it works.
Dude, the gas station store thing, that's like, that was so funny because, like Vivek Ramaswamy is running for president. And like somebody made a meme that was like, joked about like Indian guy in the 7-Eleven. And then he's has such a good sense of humor. He basically it was one of these other podcasters, Patrick Bet-David. He stopped at this 7-Eleven and he was like putting over the dog. And he's like a wealthy guy, but he was just like, he liked the idea of, once in a while you want to have a 7-Eleven dog. And he
Right.
went in and he put it up on like X or Twitter or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And then Vivek said something really funny, to show hey, that joke didn't offend me and I thought it was funny.
Right. That's
know?
a good. I will say I watched the first. Well, 2 things.
Well, remember that was on The Simpsons, and that became they always had the Indian guy and the
Yeah.
seven, and then another guy who's Indian that I like is he's a independent journalist, Sagar and Jetty,
I don't think
and he's also Indian, and he was funny because he's like, hey. He's like, you guys want to laugh about it, but he showed the stats of how much those people make.
Yeah.
So they're fucking here killing it.
Right. Exactly.
They're
It's
killing. It's
it's a
you're-
funny meme, and it's stereotypical and true, but
Yeah.
also.
Oh, dude, that's what I'm saying. It's
It's
funny.
there's a reason why we're doing.
They're
this.
here working because they know how to make money, dude. They're gonna
Exactly.
they're coming to America to make some damn money, and it's
They are doing.
and
that
they're,
for
they're it's
sure.
hey man, they're getting their bag,
Oh,
So
for sure, 1,000%. And there's one thing to say about 7-Eleven too. Over in Thailand, 7-Eleven is the spot.
I was gonna say, I bet it is,
It
dude.
is everywhere, and it is this. That is your grocery store. That is.
They have a
your
lot of good
pharmacy,
stuff, don't
that
they?
is- I mean, I lived out of 7-Eleven while I was over there. I even got myself a tank top with 7-Eleven on it just because
It's cool. I
It's-
was trying to explain that to people about the Midwest. So we have
Casey's.
Casey's General Store, and we have Quick Star, Quick Trip.
Mm-hmm.
So Quick Star and Quick Trip are the same. I don't know why
Right.
the name difference. It's in Minnesota, it's Quick Trip, and then
Yeah,
the
we
rest
have-
of the Midwest is Quick Star.
Yeah.
But anyway, people don't realize these gas stations. They're not like gas
Just
stations here.
Right.
Like you go in and it's like you can get anything you want. Like it's like
Mm-hmm.
grocery store, like you said, pharmacy, like,
Right.
and not just that, like the food is like amazing.
That
Like,
was the
it's
like
so good. Like people, are like,
first,
oh, gas station food. It's like no, it's really good. Yeah.
like it's
Like I'm, during Christmas I had to stay on my meal plan, and like we get there to the Quick Star, and like I can go get like a whole thing of like pulled chicken, like not, no breading, just like fucking cut up chicken plain,
yeah.
some boiled eggs, like just
Yeah,
anything. Like you can
everything
find
needed, and you could stay on your
meal
like, you could
plan,
really,
yeah.
you could,
Or I could
you
go
could
get a bunch of donuts,
right,
whatever you're trying to
The
do.
world is your oyster there.
But they have everything, so that's how the
Right.
7-Eleven in Thailand is, huh?
Pretty much, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, first night I got there, I went down to 7-Eleven and got me one of those. I mean, it's a reheatable.
Dude, on my way to the
meal,
gym,
but
I
it was
stop at the
good.
7-Eleven every time to grab my Gatorade before my lift.
Yeah.
And yeah, the dudes in there are dope. Like they're always like, the one's always like, oh, he's always like workout. Like he's like,
It's a big man.
yeah, he sees that I'm bigger, and I don't know, man, they're cool. So like,
Oh man,
shit, I would do
need to
that.
I know that there's the 7-Eleven, like kind of. I say down the street, but it's near the Chevron gas station.
Yeah,
I go in there every hot minute, but I never. Like,
they're not as good
that
as that Thailand one. Are they?
well, I don't know now because
Yeah,
I was really
yeah.
going in specifically to get like nicotine pouches, and then like, and that was.
Are you on the Nick pouches, dude?
I think I've kind of stopped
Because
since
I'm
I
about
came
ready to.
back.
I'm about ready to start.
I would say if you're not doing any kind of nicotine, don't bother with it because
Really?
it has been because I started out vaping, then I decided I wanted to stop putting.
Well,
stuff in
vaping's
my
bad.
lung.
The
Yeah.
lung thing.
I wanted to stop putting stuff in my lungs, so I switched over to that.
Yep.
And then I've been trying to find a way to taper off of that because I'm pretty sure like even though it seems better.
Well, because
I
it's
don't
not
know.
like doing tobacco, because it doesn't have like the carcinogen supposedly.
Right, but at the same time, it's like I don't really know
It's-
what it is. So
It's
it
still a
could
substance.
right.
Like, yeah.
I guess there are better nicotine delivery devices out there.
Yeah.
But it's this
So
one's
for me, I
flavored.
was like, okay, I'm like starting to cut now. Like I'm
Yeah.
11 weeks out from my show, so I'm like, any type of thing. Like if I get hungry, I'm like, I could just put a nicotine pouch in instead.
Dude, well, I'll put it this way. I'm kind of like in the opposite court where it's like if I feel like I need nicotine, I'll just try to eat a snack.
Oh, so you're trying to get off the nicotine?
Right.
Yeah.
It's like it's a battle. I would say don't if you can
Don't
stay
start.
Away, if you can stay away from nicotine, stay out. So that is my PSA for when they said in school, don't do drugs, don't smoke, don't do any of it. Stay away
Don't
from
do it,
nicotine.
kids. Don't do it, kids.
it.
Just go to church and say your prayers and eat your vitamins. That's,
Yeah. But even now, like since I came back, I had a nicotine pouch or like a packet, but I just haven't felt the need to use
Do it.
or like do it.
I saw they have some that are just straight up caffeine pouches, like with flavor. That might not be too bad.
I don't think caffeine isn't that big of a thing for like even drinking
No,
coffee,
I mean there's
I
even
just think it
a
tastes-
recent study about like it helps like stop cancer or something. Like there was I should look that up. Yeah.
Why is that on the market?
No, I mean that
how
was
did it how did it make it that far?
that was a thing. I mean,
But with the nicotine pouches that I.
so what made you the vaping first?
What got me onto it was my degenerate friends back in school. We just thought it was like this cool thing to do.
Oh, 100%. Just like I used to
So-
chew tobacco, like
Right.
I said, I think I told you that last time. All the pro wrestlers would, have their chew can in the back pocket, and you wanted to be like, I want to be like Randy Orton,
Right.
like when I was at the Florida tryout, someone's like, that's Randy Orton's spitter. And I'm like, oh no way, Randy Orton, he chews, dude. I chew. I'm cool like Randy
He's like,
Orton.
"Yeah, I'm
You see
just
like Shawn
you."
Michaels on Monday Night Raw, and you see him like in a brawl, but he has his like street clothes on. You're like, bro, I can see his
canister right
skull,
there, yeah.
in the back pocket, bro. Sweet,
Yeah, it's like that's. For
It's
whatever
probably like
reason-
baseball players, like all their heroes
Yeah.
chewed tobacco and.
For whatever reason, you think it's the thing to do, right?
Yeah, so it said recent studies find that coffee or caffeine actually may lower the risk of several types of cancer.
Interesting.
Yeah, so they've just been finding that out. Several types of cancer, including breast cancer.
Awesome.
So
Yeah, I
one,
don't want to get titty cancer.
No, I mean dudes can get it too.
Yeah,
actually,
we can.
like that is a
I
thing.
do not want to get titty cancer. Well, I say
No,
breast
it's a
cancer,
horrible.
but
I know
yeah.
I always get in trouble for talking shit about alcohol, but alcohol's bad for
Yeah.
for breast cancer.
Really, yeah.
Oh,
Well,
bad,
alcohol's
bad.
just bad for a lot of things, but
Well, it
it's
is,
good.
but yeah. What was the stats on that? Like, if you look up alcohol and breast cancer,
Because I mean, even like yeah, cancers. I'm sure anything relating to your body. So like, I have very minimal gout as well.
yeah, even a small amount of alcohol is linked with an increased risk of breast cancer in women. Um, it's like such a small amount of.
So basically,
It's
if you're
not
gonna,
good.
if you're going to drink alcohol, you also need to be drinking coffee. Is what I'm hearing.
Yeah, so yeah. I mean, basically, drink your alcohol, then you yeah. So they've done a lot of studies on it, and so it's like only 35 to 44 grams a day, which is only like 3 or 4 drinks. Um, damn. So like it increases risk of breast cancer by 32%, and for those who intake 3 or 4 drinks a day, it's 46%.
Woo.
Yikes. Yeah.
Yay. So then I'm trying to think. Cause
Well, you know,
in
it would.
college, I'm thinking about college age. You know.
Oh, if you're in
people
college, dude, you're just drinking.
No, I will say Thursday through Saturday slash maybe
So
Sunday.
it'd be
is
cumulative. So you'd have to like, how many drinks they have over the weekend? Divide that by the whole days.
But each day
And
you're
then that would
having
be
at
like-
least 5.
Dude, how much do you think you actually like drank when you like were a kid?
I didn't drink as much as
Oh, okay.
like my counterparts, but I drank a lot.
Well, I was gonna say
So
like
that's
if I
what I
try to
was-
think about like when we were actually young, like how many drinks we drank in a weekend, dude, it was a lot.
I don't even want to think because like we literally play games where you try
Yeah.
to empty out the case,
Oh,
or
yeah.
like you know it's like between you and your 3 other buddies.
There's
It's
always
we're
like those
drinking a whole
drinking games. Like
case.
every time this happens, you have to drink. Like.
Mm-hmm. Is that too, or like because
I remember like they would tape like 40s to their hands. and
Oh yeah, Edward
40
hands.
hands. Yeah.
I don't think I ever played that game, and thank God, because I've seen those.
I never did. I saw people play it though.
Yeah, and I've
yeah.
seen the aftermath of like it could go very wrong.
Well, dude, imagine that 40s. It's like it's like really large, shitty beers taped to your hand. You know, it's
And
just
the
like.
Cobras, or that's
Oh,
what we
yeah.
had. Or,
Yeah, what do you think the first alcohol you ever drank was?
Oh, it was Coors Light. I remember
Coors
exactly
Light.
what it was.
No
or what I was
way.
doing. I snuck it from my dad's basement fridge. He had
Okay.
some mini Coors Lights, and I think I had just experimented with
Mini
like,
Coors or the banquet ones, like the. Oh no, Coors Light. You're talking light, yeah.
Yeah, like
But they were like the
it was,
little
like,
cans?
about this tall as like this. You know, this
I remember
right
those.
here.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I went and I snuck one because I was home for the summer and I was like experimenting. Like I was like 16, so that was about where I started nicotine. That's about where I tried weed for the first time.
Yeah.
And had my first sip of alcohol. I
Sure.
tried it. I was like, this sucks, and I went to
Yeah.
the backyard and I just chucked it. And
Oh yeah, beer
so I-
tasted like shit when you first started.
It was
yeah.
awful, and then I got to college, and it was right before I got to college. I had some Miller, then and I was like,
I was gonna
okay,
say, yeah. What was the college beer that you drank? What?
Natty Light.
Lot of Natty Light. Same. It was like.
Oh wait, no, sorry, Bush Light.
Oh,
Busch
we
Light
did
was-
tons of Bush Light. So yeah, cause this is South Carolina. Like,
Yeah,
yeah. So Bush Light was
our-
probably
our guy.
because we were Bush Light in Iowa. I mean, it was like Bush Light and
Yeah.
Bud Light and.
Busch
You know,
Light,
well, a lot of people like
Bud,
PBR,
Miller.
Hams.
Yeah, we have PBR as well, and then Rolling Rock.
Yeah, but then the Keystone Ice, Keystone Light,
Keystone Light,
Natty
yeah.
Light, Natty Ice. So you
Yeah.
get the ice because it was like even heavier. You know, like
yeah,
that
we,
was the
we
sh-
had it all,
was
but I think Bush was like our staple at Clemson University.
we used to have these girls buy us beer before we were old enough.
Yeah.
Like yeah, these coworkers of ours. Like they were like older. I don't know if they like just had crushes on us, so that's why we could just get them to do whatever we wanted, or we'd be
I
like,
don't
"Hey,
know,
we're going to
that's-
this party. Will you not only buy beer for me, but like drive it out to the party, drop it off that you're not even gonna stay at?" And they would
Right.
do it.
That is so wild.
Isn't that horrible? I feel terrible
One
about
of
that.
you guys like with like in the group of girls like were they? Was
They
there
were like,
connection there, or
there
were
was
you
no
just-
connection. They
no
were like
connection?
actually older girls than us, and I would have said like they were in a totally different. Like they had no chance with us. I'll say like.
I see.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
But so I don't know if they like, but they were like our older coworkers, you know. Like we worked at the gas station with them,
Huh.
and I'm like, was that like? Did they just do that because they thought we were cute, or what
I guess
was?
so. I don't know because that's when I think about some of my older friends
Yeah.
or counterparts who I got to get me like stuff like alcohol or Nicky
Yeah, how
or
did we
whatever.
get them to
I'm
buy
just
us beer, dude?
I don't think I was that cool or anything. Why are you messing around with a kid like that?
I know,
You
but they just like they would do it. I don't know. That was so weird, and I'm sure people did it for them before, when they were younger. Like,
probably, and it's like kind of it's one of those things where it's.
do you think
a
kids even do
grandfather's
this
syndrome.
stuff anymore?
Kind of.
Not
I
as
think-
much,
Not as
probably,
much. 'Cause
yeah.
I think the other day, I say the other day, but like a few months ago, there was like. Actually, no. When I was back in South Carolina, hanging out with my buddies, and some kids were like kind of walking around, trying to get some alcohol. I think somewhere. And it's
Yeah.
like, hey, you trying to like buy me a drink? I'm like,
Trying
"What
to
the
score
fuck?"
some alcohol,
Get
bro.
out of here, man.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
I think it was a different environment.
Well, they say now all the kids are on like their phones and like
Right.
they're not doing as much stuff in real life. So it's like I'm wondering like, do they still? I bet there's still some that like
Yeah, there's
like let's party, let's drink.
Yeah, and I think that's probably what it is. Everyone's attached to their phone. I think we talked about this last time.
Probably.
Like the phone culture is a big difference because even when
Right.
I was, starting, I would have the alcohol or
Yeah.
whatever I was doing, and we'd be at a bonfire. Like we're
Right.
outside engaging with each other. We're just doing.
I know
shit.
there was actually something about it that was like I didn't mind it. Like it's
Right.
like not that the alcohol is good for you, but like when you're, I don't know, it was fun. It was a fun period. Like
it was like it's a
Cultural.
thing.
Yeah,
Yes,
yeah.
It's culture.
yeah, because that's what you did. Like my buddy had this some farm on his farmland that his dad owned. They had this like cabin, like not a huge cabin. It was literally like a fucking like they took a garage and like lifted it up and then built in underneath it and then turned it into a cabin. You know,
That's dope.
yeah, it was kind of cool. They like basically made a little, they put a little wood burning stove in it, had a little loft place where people could sleep.
Oh yeah. That's
So then we would like go out there and it was right by the on the river, so like that was our spot growing up. Like it was they called it Lundy's Landing, but then we always just called it the cabin. We're going out to the cabin this weekend, party at the cabin. We'd play like,
that's awesome.
we'd do like that frisbee game. What the hell is
Ultimate
it?
Frisbee, or is it?
No, it was the one where you'd like have the PVC poles with a beer bottle on top. We called it Beersby, but it was kind of like.
Dude, I think you put me onto a new game.
Oh,
I think
you would
we
love
probably
Beersby,
know
dude.
about it, but I
So
guess
you had
when
to
I
have
go
a
back-
drink in your left hand, so you always had to have something in this hand. You couldn't
Okay.
use the left. And you'd have to throw the frisbee, and you're on the same side as your teammate, and you try to knock the beer bottle off their pole. So like you'd get a certain amount of points. So if the bottle hits the ground, it's a point. If the frisbee hits the bottle, it's a point. And if the frisbee hits the ground, it's a point. So if they're throwing at me and they hit the pole and the bottle's falling and my teammate catches the bottle and I catch the frisbee they threw, they just got 0 points. You know what I'm saying?
man.
But if the frisbee hit the bottle, that's 1 point because they hit the bottle, but he caught the bottle and I caught the frisbee, they only get 1 point. But if it hit the bottle hits the ground, and the frisbee hits the ground, they would have got 3 points. So you can see how this gets really fun.
So you're just like holding.
And so,
just have
but
to
you can
hold
only
it.
catch the frisbee with your right, and you can only throw it with your right.
I
And so we
see.
get wild. Sometimes you'd go for like a straight shot, like you had the pole and you want to knock the bottle, and you just whip it like straight, and you
Yeah.
try to fucking like hammer it in so
And
it
it
falls,
just yoinks.
or hit the bottle. And then other times you'd fuck with them. You'd try to you'd wing the frisbee way out to the side and have it kind of, and then it
Yep.
would curl in at the end. You could, because you got kind of good at it. It was weird.
I need to.
We would have literal fucking tournaments, dude. And this is even
Yeah,
after I
that's-
quit drinking. I would just hold I
Yeah,
was
just whatever.
chewing at the time, so I'd have my little spitter. So I'd have my
that's
dip in it.
That's
Yeah.
a good game because
Dude, it was
our
so
game
fun.
is beer ball, which is like kind of like I say a similar setup, but
Yeah.
not really. But you've got your ping pong or ping
Well,
pong table size
Yep.
table. Beer there, 4 beers,
Yeah.
each on each corner, flipped over. Everyone has their own beer. Your buddy has
so
a
not
ball.
beer pong.
Not
but
beer pong,
different.
but beer ball. So what
Got
you're doing
it.
is you have 2 balls on each side. You throw it at either one of the opponent's
Yeah.
beers, and if you hit it, then your partner gets to start drinking.
Okay.
And the way that you get them to stop drinking is the other team has to grab the ball and hit the center of the table. And so as soon as the ball, the best scenario is you hit the can, it rolls back, and then you can do some dirty stuff like kick the ball like over there to make them go run, and you see people just like running and like tripping and shit. Trying
So
to
it gets like
ball.
that too, really complex, like little tricks
Right.
you can do.
I don't think it's as intricate as the game that you just described. I think if I brought that back to
You
South
should try
Carolina,
Beersby, dude. I'll tell you the
Beersby.
rules. It's so easy. But we would literally have these big tournaments. So we'd have parties with like all these people would show up, and we would like pair off into twos.
Yeah.
You know, and then you'd be like part of a bracket basically, like
That's
fucking.
awesome. And that's kind of how we did beer ball and all those games as well.
And even after I
Like
quit
that.
drinking, it was still fun because, like I
Right.
said, like it didn't matter. You just had to have something where you couldn't use your left hand.
Right.
So I'm like, all
And
right.
I think that was where I was getting at was like with beer ball, it's pretty much you're locked in where you have to drink your beer. Like you might be able to tell the guys, all right, I'm putting a seltzer right here, and like this is my seltzer. But the other thing is if it falls off, you have to grab a new beer.
Yeah, so yours you have to almost have the alcohol as part of it.
Because if you only brought that one seltzer and you fucked yourself, then they're grabbing a beer for you to start drinking.
Yeah,
It's like,
you just
hey,
gotta
the game's
drink. There's
the game's
no.
gotta go. But
Yeah, like the drinking is part of the game.
it
Like,
is. But at the same time, like what you described, you just need to have something in your hand. I mean,
it's
that's,
fun,
that's
dude.
Nice.
Yeah,
That sounds
Beersby
like a
was
very
pretty
good
dope.
time.
Beersby was dope.
And you can play that with kids,
Oh, you could do it with kids
Right.
if you take the beer element out of it. Yeah. I mean,
Well, honestly, hell, leave the beer element in. Just give them like a juice
just give them
box,
a here's your juice.
Like I could definitely see that as like a
you
good
getting
summer.
messed
routine.
up on that root beer, aren't you, son? Yeah.
Right, like you can definitely play that with the family. Your dad and grandpa, they've got a beer. The kids got like sodas or root beers or.
That's the
whatever.
shit I do definitely miss about the small town vibe for sure. Like just like stuff like that, you know. We used to play this other thing called roof ball.
Never heard of roof.
So I don't even really know what
First
it
of all,
was.
the way you said roof.
Roof
like
ball.
Roof.
Roof ball.
Okay.
Like the top of a house, like with the shingles.
Oh, man,
Yeah, so my
you're-
buddy had this house with like a really sloped like pitch of a roof. And then we had this deck. And all we would do is we would just like while we're sitting around like chilling, we would take this little ball and you'd like throw it.
Oh,
And
I
it would
did
like
play
roll.
roof
It would
ball.
like roll on the roof, and then the other guy on the other
Yeah,
side of
to
the
catch
porch would
it.
catch it.
Yeah,
It's
I
like-
do remember playing
I don't even
roof
remember. There
ball.
might have been some more rules than that, but because they might have turned it into a game. But yeah, roof ball was the shit. dude.
I don't know if there were ever any rules. I do remember.
We'd just be like,
roof ball. Yeah,
okay.
I used to go to like
the other guy catch it.
Yep, and
Yeah.
that was it. We used to play it with like a dodgeball or like those, like those like rubber.
Yeah, it was a little
dodgeballs.
dodgeball. It was like a small rubber dodgeball.
Yeah, you
basically.
just like
Fucking-
sling it up there
yeah.
with your little 6-year-old body.
Those are the
You
shit.
gotta- Oh man, that was fun.
Yeah.
But I don't see people doing that.
Like that's what small towns are like, dude. Like my friends would literally like, they would just sit chairs out in the driveway and just watch like people drive by.
Yeah, I mean,
Like, what are you doing? Oh, we're just gonna go sit and see what's going on in the neighborhood. You know, and it's funny because we don't even have southern accents. I don't know why.
I mean, you kind of do. You guys have country accents. You have
Iowa has a
Midwest-
little bit of a Midwest
between
accent. Yeah.
those little four corners where we just talked about, like
If I-
Midwest. You guys are the country that just happen to be up north.
Right, like right now, so I'm talking like myself. This is what I sound like.
Right.
If I get like one of my Midwest buddies in here, I could see like, let's see how would the voice change? Like,
I was like, oh, you're going down to the water down yonder, eh? Oh wait, no.
hey,
that's-
what's up, man? You know, I don't know. There's like a whole like,
There's
it's different.
it's like I'm gonna call it country grammar. I do the same thing. It's a code
Yeah.
switch for sure.
You don't even know you're doing it. You know how language there's
Right.
like they call it code switching. Is that what you say?
code switch.
Yeah, code switching. Like you do that at work. You'll do it like if you're around. I mean, I'm sure you do it if you're around girls you like. You're gonna try to speak
Right.
better or like
Exactly, and like even now, so this is how I talk in a very
normal
I think
conversational.
this is my normal and actual voice.
Yeah, my
But, like,
podcast voice is probably my most normal, like, whatever voice.
And the funny thing is, I think that even my friends, this is all how we actually talk. But
Yes.
when we get around each other, for
Oh,
whatever
yeah.
reason, we all do a
Yeah.
overly southern kind of thing, especially my buddy. Like, he'll be like, oh yeah, we're about to go hit some dirt bike hills over in a second, man. And I'm just like,
Yeah.
oh yeah, where y'all going? Like,
Yeah, where y'all
it's just
going?
Like, it's like he comes out of nowhere.
Yeah.
And there's no reason. We're just amongst each other. It's like we can use our normal.
I feel
voices.
that, dude.
And
I
some of our
totally
friends,
feel that. Yeah.
We'll still use our normal voice, but we just do it to kind of be funny.
Oh yeah, we used to do that to
why.
kind of be funny too. Like we'd kind of make fun of some of like the older generation in the town. You know, like we'd be like, "Oh yeah, what you doing?" And you know,
Right.
like yeah, just kind of like, cause I mean, some people, the older boys are them old boys. You know, them good old boys.
Yeah.
Like they're just a bunch. You know, they're small town good old boys. You know, it's like
You just gotta. And that's the other thing too. I think that we're probably doing it to make fun of them. Now that you mention it.
yeah, in a way. Like, it's not like you didn't like them, but you're just like, you know, when you're young, you're always trying to fight against the older generation. So
right.
you're like,
Or whether it's fighting against or it's monkey see, monkey do. Because like
Yeah.
at least the way that I kind of correlate it is a lot of the older people or the older generation in where I come from, they actually do talk with a good amount of slang. And
I bet.
In Greenville, South Carolina, that's relatively city where I am compared to most parts of South Carolina.
Okay.
So that's why I guess I have a neutral accent. That's why most of my
Right.
friends I grew up with have a neutral accent.
Yes.
But we'll throw on the southern accent really to kind of assimilate and converse with the older generation or the people who...
Yeah, it just kind of happens.
Right.
You know, like,
the people who are doing the stuff that you aspire to, grow up and be, or who dictate your employment like in that area.
Oh, yeah,
that you're
yeah.
trying to assimilate. That's I think who we're emulating at times. So like my buddies who've gotten into golf like over these small years because we're still young adults. But
Yeah.
like we get into investing, golf, adult things.
adult
So
stuff.
I think
Investing,
that's
dude,
when we
that's where it's at. Yeah.
Right, and we start throwing in the southern, accent to kind of again emulate the older generation who is already doing.
How
this.
y'all doing, sir? Good to
Right.
meet you.
That is exactly how.
Yeah.
That is.
No, I know. Yeah, like there's like that good old boys thing. Like you're, I don't know. Yeah, like we actually just had one of our family friends passed away from home, and it's pretty sad for the whole community. Because it was one of those people like beloved in the community, you know.
I mean, because you guys, at least in the Midwest, do you guys have villages?
Well, you know, it's like small towns, so it's like
Okay,
you get
so
like.
it's small.
So my town was a very small town, and then there's even smaller towns surrounding, and then there's some bigger towns, and then maybe an hour away there's really bigger towns,
Right.
and then maybe 3 hours away there's like Des Moines, a really really big town, you know.
Right.
But it's crazy, dude. Like seeing his send off because he was so beloved. So like, also, you know, I mean, so it's been hitting us all hard this week,
Right.
just really hard. You know, like texting with my friends and family back home. But, dude, he was like a power lineman. You know, so like, they had all the fucking like trucks lined up outside the church with like the big fucking cranes, like,
like
hanging American flag, and then they had his big ass fucking like REC truck, which is like the company he worked for.
Yeah.
You know, parked in front. I'm like, whoa, like you can tell, like
This
that's
guy
one thing
was
about
loved.
small town, dude. Like,
Right.
you know how we like fixate on all these famous people all the time, and like, you know, like 2020, oh my god, another famous person passed away, oh my god,
Right.
and it's like you don't even know these people actually. Like, I'm not trying to say it's not sad. Like we do,
Yeah.
we look up to these people, we're inspired by them, so it hits us when they pass. But
Right.
when you see like the impact a person who actually you knew in real life
Right, your
pass
regular,
away
regular
so much,
old Joe, and seeing the impact that
on that
he
whole
had,
community, because it was like there's probably not one person in that community that would have one bad thing to say about the guy.
Right.
You know, like he was one of those like just really good lights, you know, like bright light of a person. Like he was always like, I don't know, he had a funny way about him of just like making people feel good, you know, like
Yeah.
And then he had like 3 sons, so you know, imagine that, and they're all kind of wild because like, you know, you got 3 boys, so it's like.
That's a Midwest.
So we just always remember, like, he'd always be like, just like, he'd like whistle for him to come home. He had this loud ass whistle. He'd be like, God damn it, boys! You know, he'd just be like, he was one of those dudes, like, you'd always hear him like,
Yeah, you can just
God
hear
damn it, you
trying
know.
to corral his.
Try to corral
wild.
him. Get over here. His face would turn all red, you know, like, I don't know. He was just such a funny, just a good dude, you know, like.
And yeah, that's what I would say I do like when I was in the Midwest, spending some time there, like I did enjoy that country, or not country, but that small town mindset, or like that community sense.
Totally, dude.
That
Everybody.
you get away from once you're in a bigger city. And when I was in Thailand, it's kind of, even within the bigger city, I still feel like it's different than here
Right.
because even though, and I'm sure like I don't live there, so I don't really know this. I'm sure there are some cliques or like offshoot
Oh
groups
yeah, I'm
that kind of
sure.
stick together. But I will say, generally speaking, everyone kind of looks out for each other. Is how I felt while I was there.
That's a little different than here, I would
Right.
say. Yeah, yeah.
Keep in mind I was only there for 3 weeks, so I'm gonna have to go and do another trip and actually. But I will say like because when I got there and when I stayed at the gym that I was training at, they treated me like super awesome. Like I
Yeah.
feel like I still talk to one of the trainers. And,
Right. You made some good connections.
yeah, a lot of good connections and like those people who I met at the gym, like they genuinely made me feel like I was part of their family.
Hell
and
yeah.
that was on day one.
Right.
So there's an overall, I think, cultural sense of taking care of each other, and so I liken that to the sense of community that you just described.
Right.
And it's such a nice thing. And so in our bigger cities, we don't really.
I think that's actually what people are missing the most because like I try to do that like when I'm personal training, like I don't know, try to get people some sense of like community within that like workout group of people, because I
Right.
think it's something that in like bigger cities is like lacking, and I think it might be a big part of like what leads to like the depression and the
Right.
I think there's like a loneliness thing, and I think the phones probably add to it a little
It
bit.
does. I was about to ask, do you ever, aside from the fact that you have to like promote your business, do you ever just be like, okay, no phones? Or
You know
are
what,
trying
dude?
to,
I'm like addicted to my phone,
I
so
know,
I
but you
cannot
kinda
even
have to.
imagine life without it. But like, I do think because I grew up in an era before phones, it gives me a little bit better ability to understand what it is. So like, because I think of social media like it's a performance, it's not real.
Yes.
So everybody, it's performative art in a sense. So like, we're
Yes.
putting our ideal version of ourselves or how we want to present ourselves to the world. So I don't even look at it as really real. It's like, so to me, it's just like, I don't hate on it because I'm like, well, it's just a person
Exactly.
kind of
Expressing their
being
highlights of their life.
right. They're highlighting their life. And yeah, that can be a little negative because, like, there's certain implications that brings. Like, you get like people posting nothing but like thirst traps and stuff. And then you
Right.
meet somebody in the real world and you want to have a real relationship. And it's like, well, can you give up that fucking dopamine kick of posting
Right.
these things and getting all these
It's
people to like you?
Yeah, it's like,
So like now I have a
that's not
real person in my real life. Like, am I gonna? Well, I don't want to give up my fucking dopamine kick. I want
Right.
to post my fucking selfie and get all that fucking validation, and
Yeah,
like
that's a pretty good way of describing it. I mean, because I'll put it in the context of like, I've definitely had that conversation before with some people. I'm like,
Yeah.
people need
oh, if you're
to-
seeing a
because-
girl, like imagine that. What if your girl's like
Right.
posting her butt every day on
Or something
Instagram? Are
like-
you gonna be happy with that? Probably
Yeah,
not.
It's like, no, it's like I'm the only person you should be really worried about. But at
Yeah.
the same time, like you mentioned, it's like there is an addiction to.
But
the
then what if
dopamine
also you
kick,
built a
right?
business out of it?
Right,
Like
that's it.
if you like have your whole thing is like
Right.
so your sponsorships and all,
And
and
I
then
will
it's
say,
like,
if I like met someone who was already in that industry, and I went into that knowing that.
right, I would say like you'd have to be
So,
supportive and
right.
be like, hey, well, this is what I'm getting into. So, but yeah, I think
So,
that so just like all that and then the lack of community. So I think it's weird because like there's part of big city where it is kind of nice to like have like privacy
Right.
and not everybody's in your business and like when you're in a small town, shit, everybody knows everybody's dirt. Everybody
Yeah,
knows
that's-
like I heard so and so fighting again. They had to call the cops and
That's
like,
the other thing. You guys like in
Yeah.
the smaller communities, you guys will scrap. Like,
oh
they were,
my
like,
god, dude! Everybody know. Like people
Because
think people think somebody doesn't know stuff about them. They fucking know.
Yeah, no,
like-
everyone knows everything about someone, and they're always like that makes the confrontations between people that
yeah.
much more.
Oh, when they get
juicy.
mad, they'll start throwing out like fucking. Oh yeah, well you fucking.
Right.
It's like, oh shit, that's the thing we don't talk about. But like when
Exactly.
somebody gets mad, that's when they're gonna throw out the real shit.
Yeah,
Like,
and when
and then they'll apologize. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to.
Yeah, it blew my mind to see that. I'm just like, whoa, how are you guys like talking?
Oh,
you
dude,
guys
they'll
just
fight in
love
a
each
bar.
other?
They'll fight in a bar, say the worst shit they've ever said to each other, and then they'll be friends again the week after.
Exactly. I'm just like, what the heck?
Well, and you got to think about that too. Then you get people cheating on each other. You get all like, there'll be people where like you don't know like and your parents don't tell you that stuff.
Right.
So it's like, so and so cheated on so and so back in whatever. Like we don't know. Like
And it's like, oh man, that's crazy. I guess that happened.
Yeah, you just don't
It's
know.
like,
But
what
like
do I
small.
do with that?
So I guess my point is like I think there is a thing we kind of like about the city, the buzz, the excitement.
Yeah.
You know, if you want anything, it's like a drive away. Like you can get what do you
Yeah.
want, dude? What do you want? What's your fucking drug of choice? You can probably find it.
Yeah,
You know, like
exactly.
or anything. But then I think we're missing the community part. So it's like
Definitely.
there's like you know, you like you say you want that privacy, but then you know, I don't
It's
know.
like
Do you really? It feels better when you have like
Right.
people that love you and
You
like
want the privacy when you want it, but and then you want
Right.
like you want what you want when you want it. Essentially.
it was funny. I saw this meme where this dude was like, he's like, alcohol's pretty cool, and he's like sitting at the bar and gets a beer, and it's like it's a cartoon, and he's like, you know what else is cool though? Being unconditionally loved. But I don't know what that feels like. Give me another beer. And he's like, I'm like, shit, that's so dark.
Exactly what you're
Yeah, it was dark. It's like,
But I mean, at the same time,
he's like, but I've never felt that in my life. Give me another beer. Like, you
But
know.
no, you're absolutely, and I think even here, like in like Seattle specifically, right? I mean, we have a large Asian population here, but we actually have like a bunch of different groups, and you'll find that amongst those different ethnic groups in our area, they have a sense of community,
much more,
and
yeah.
they
yeah.
bring that mentality of like looking out for each other.
Yes.
Because especially like Filipino people, like,
I think
they
that
don't
too.
really know each other, but like if you just like see another Filipino
Right.
person, that is like that's your brother or like your cousin.
Yeah.
And, like you will. Extend
Oh, they're
yourself
way
to-
different about
you know
that
what I
stuff.
mean?
A lot of people are like a lot of different cultures are much better. I mean, they'll live together in houses, like whole families, like generations, and like you think about that. Like, could you do that? It's like actually, your life would probably be better.
Yeah, like it's better for everybody. I mean, everyone takes care of each other.
Right.
You just have a big
Like
house,
grandma never
everyone's,
goes
like,
to the
there.
nursing home. She's just in the back room. We
You
got
have
her
a
here.
babysitter all
Yeah.
the time if you have children, you know.
Yeah. Well, that's like the one. You know, everybody hates Andrew Tate, but he does have this saying about, you know, if people here would like band together and share incomes, you know, instead of like all having their own place, like you get a group of people all together you trust and you treat it like a family unit.
Right.
Now you all go out and get jobs. You pool the money together. Now you have like resources. You could like,
Right.
and then you could like have a couple of you focused on how do we build the next thing. So like you got some people working regular jobs to bring in an income. Then you got some people like building a new business, and then eventually they all can go to the business because you know when you're working you don't have a lot of time to start the next thing.
Right.
But if you were together in a group or a family, you know you got one person covering this so it is weird like the whole family unit thing. Like here we're just like everybody's on their own. You have your own apartment, your own like, you know, like I have this whole
Right,
place to
the
myself.
autonomous.
It's like it's weird. It's like I don't know. There is something to be said, I think, with other cultures, the way they band together and like save money and like work together. And then, well, it's even like the 7-Eleven guys we're talking about. They're like they're probably brothers. The one, you know, like the ones I'm
Probably,
thinking
yeah,
of.
maybe.
Yeah, or at least they work together really well. And-
Honestly, I didn't even think of that, but it's
Yeah.
very possible. Like, yeah, a lot of like it could be a family-run, you know,
Right,
business. And
right.
again, that's what I noticed. Like in Thailand, every like businesses are run as a family or close friends, and you guys live with like the people who I trained with. They live at the camp at the Muay Thai camp, and like they're
so their business is where they. I mean, they live. Their
right.
business is
and
their
it is
life.
a camp too, because the fighters also live there too.
Yeah.
So if I go back, I'll probably try to like stay there too. They have like rooms. And
Try to
stuff.
have it do like a camp.
It's
yeah.
almost, it's like a summer camp, honestly. It kind of is.
Right.
And so when I use the word camp, like it is actually camp.
It's a camp. Yeah.
And so yeah, the head coach lives there. His son lives there. His wife lives there. You know,
Yeah.
there's kids running around.
Your
too.
business is your life. Your life
Right.
is your business.
And
You know, like
that is absolutely true.
Right.
Like their business is the life, and I'm not saying that they probably don't want to have like nice things or whatnot. And to them, and even to me when I was over there, that is nice living. Like I
Right.
honestly didn't feel a need for or a want for more.
Well, I think the most valuable thing is like health.
Right.
So you're already in a thing where you're using your body, and then if you can eat healthy on top of it, like
Right.
I feel like if you have that, like the ability to use your body and like physical health, like, and then you have like make just enough to like have that. I mean, what else do you really want? You know, like-
Exactly. I mean, they.
I know what we want. We always want more.
Well,
but-
and we want more because, or I think it's we want what we we perceive that we want more probably because of
Uh-huh.
what's in our surroundings, right?
Yep.
So like we watch
Want
a
to
lot of
chase
TV.
something, yeah.
Like we have a lot of movies and like TV and stuff
It
where
makes you
like,
want
people
that
are
shit.
chasing, you know, having
Yeah.
nice cars, all this stuff, and so you internalize that
Oh,
you
dude.
want to have it. And I'm not saying they don't have, you know, that type of media as well, but I think there's an overwhelming sense of I'll say presence of their culture that they
Yep,
have over
yep.
there that's ingrained of like, hey, this is just what we do, and like we make the most of it, enjoy it, and it also could be backed by their faith in, you know, Buddhism and, you know, Islam as well.
Yeah.
It could be backed by their strong devotion to those things as well.
I do think that gives a good like I've been, you know, we grew up over here very secular, very like atheist, very like I grew up in a Catholic Christian religion, but I think this year was like the first time I went to church and like because I went home for Christmas
Yeah.
and it was weird. I haven't been to church in like God, I don't know how many years, dude. But I think what religion does is it's a nice framework for like,
It is.
you know, it gives you like a purpose, a meaning, and I think it can be a good thing. I think like obviously we have religious wars going on right now, so we can see the dark side of it as well. But
Like, I'm not the most religious person, but I have like some sense of something in the universe.
same,
Right?
same.
And like,
I'm not a non-believer, like
right.
especially after I took mushrooms, dude. I'm like, there's definitely a God.
Right.
I
Like, there's
was like-
definitely
after I took those, I'm like, no way. There's definitely something going on here.
right. There's like some kind
Yeah.
of creation
Yes.
point for sure.
I always say it's like whatever you
That's-
want to call it, God, the
right.
universe, like, you know, like
That is your creator. That is God, and like
Yes.
from there, that's right. And I don't know how this is gonna do over your podcast, but I mean, like you have for religion and stuff. I mean, that like you mentioned, I like the word framework.
it's a good
And
framework.
it's a good
Yeah,
framework
yeah.
because ultimately, as people, at least I feel, we're all just trying to do one simple thing, and that is honestly survive the way we best know how to and enjoy
Yeah.
it, right? And so the best way to do that is come up with constructs so that we don't infringe on each other's survival.
Right.
And so like
So
religion,
basically, framework to be a decent person is what. Yeah,
Right.
yeah, yeah.
And so religion, for example, you notice that each religion has core principles of how to guide your life.
Right.
And all of them pretty much will say like, don't take another person's life, or
Right. Thou
treat
shalt not
others how
kill.
you want to be treated, and
Like,
some
don't
way, shape, or
steal,
form.
don't kill. Yeah, treat people how you want to be treated,
Right.
basically.
And so, like you said, it's a framework of how to be a decent person, and so that we can all just, you know, live
At its best,
on this
it's
nice
that.
place
Yep.
and hopefully live a very good, decent life, and potentially be rewarded in the
Yeah,
afterlife.
I kind of dig that, dude. Yeah, I
You
dig
know?
that. Like, I have one of my clients. She goes to church every Sunday, and I'm always like, man, maybe I should just go and
Right.
see what it's like. You
There
know?
was a moment where, because I've been like this for a while in my thinking, but there was someone I dated, and I would go to church, you know, with them for a while. And
Yeah.
even though it's not like this is the religion that I subscribe to, or it's not the religion I don't subscribe to. It's not something I do regularly.
But
go
yeah,
to
yeah, yeah.
church. But even being in that room and just hearing the story, and like there are lessons.
The
to be
presence
taken from it.
of the people. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And then you can connect within your inner self and use that time to do whatever you feel or feel,
Meditate
and
or-
look inward.
It's also they're a community, so it's
Right.
another loving,
That too.
supportive community. Hopefully, you know. Like,
Exactly. And so all those things, like regardless of whether you, or at least me personally, regardless of whether you subscribe to the religion or not, as long as it's not offensive to the people
Right.
there. I don't see a problem with being maybe not so religious, but still attending church services because
Yeah.
you can always find something.
Right, because I don't want to like. I was always like, I don't want to like, go infringe on someone's space where it's something I'm not. But it's
Right.
like if it's not like I'm saying I don't believe it, but it, like I don't know. It's something that's interesting to me
Right.
lately because, it's like as you go through life, you get like certain realizations of like. If you're always trying to be a healthy guy, so like you realize certain things are just like not good for me.
Mm-hmm.
Even stuff like dopamine, like being on my phone too long or scrolling or porn or whatever,
Yeah.
like, and so then you start realizing like, oh, there are certain like, that framework of like, it's not like you want to say good and evil because that's subjective or whatever,
Right.
but it's like there are certain things that you do that make you feel good and make you feel aligned, and there's other things when you do it you feel like shitty afterwards.
Right.
You know, like
There's
it's like
always
that's how you know
consequences.
something's like a good or bad thing for you.
Right.
Is like how your nervous system feels afterwards, or how you know what I mean.
Yeah,
like,
there's always consequence for whether it's good or bad. There's consequence or some outcome to whatever your action is going to be. That's the way,
Right.
at least, like I try to think.
That's what I do, and then I try to like if something. Oh, I realize that makes me feel good. So like doing what I say I'm gonna do, that makes me feel good. If I say I'm gonna do this and I do it, if I say I'm gonna do it and then I fail to do it, I start feeling shitty.
Right. It's like
So like little things like that is kind of like my own like religion, you know, like
Yep.
little tools in life, like discipline is one thing. I always say like it's like you write contracts with yourself and then you keep them, and that is your way to get more confident.
Yep.
If you write contracts with yourself, say I'm gonna do this thing, and then you always do it, you start showing yourself like, man, I keep showing up for myself.
Right.
Now you're confident in your ability to do that. If you keep like telling yourself you're gonna do stuff and you slough it off and you don't do it, you start feeling like, dude, I never fucking show up for myself. I'm not. You lose your confidence.
You kind of just.
So you got to
just
keep these
open-
contracts to yourself.
Yeah, you gotta open something for my brain right now. At least in understanding people who might. I mean, I can't speak for other people, but if
Yeah.
there is a way in which for myself, if I was ever feeling a certain way or insecure about like my being or whatnot, those insecurities probably stem from I want to be a different way.
Yeah.
But ultimately, I do have the mentality as well that the only person who can really get you to do what you want to do is yourself.
Yourself,
And
yes.
so ultimately, if I'm not in that position or doing what it is that I'm aspiring to do, it's because I've written a contract for myself that I didn't show up to.
Right, and that's how you lose confidence, because you're like,
Right.
shit, I fucking failed myself.
Right. I failed myself.
The
and
more
it's
you
like,
don't
why do I
fail
wanna-
yourself, the more confident you feel in yourself. Because you're like, man, every time I fucking tell myself I'm going to do something, I do it. And, you know, I think probably the most unhappy people are people with high ambition, but they don't do anything. They don't take action.
Right.
So people with low ambition, they're like probably can be pretty happy because they're like, well, I don't really want to do anything.
Well,
And then
also-
I didn't do anything, so I don't feel bad about myself because I didn't want to do anything.
Right.
You know, what are you talking about? Like, I just want to fucking watch Netflix and hang. There's people that are totally happy with just that. The most unhappy people are people that have like high ambition, so they want to do all this. Like, I'm gonna fucking do this. I'm gonna be
Right.
this, but then they never put in the work. Those are the most unhappy people. High ambition, but don't ever put in the work.
Right.
So like if you have high ambition, there's so much you require of yourself. If you don't do it, you're gonna feel like shit.
There is, and I think that taps into a conversation of goal setting as well, because so paired with your level of ambition,
Right.
there's also the conversation of goal setting, because let's say you have high ambition. I say I'm gonna be a trillionaire next year.
Oh,
That's
yeah.
very ambitious.
That's pretty ambitious. Yeah.
And as far as goal setting goes, well, maybe I should push that timeline.
Yeah.
Out
Well,
a little bit.
you're talking about realistic
Right.
expectations for goals.
Like,
So like set a
realistically,
realistic goal.
I do believe like I could become a trillionaire. I think anybody really could. Now the amount of work it's going to take for that individual, that's where things.
Most
become
people are
different
never going to
because-
put in that amount of work.
Right, and for me specifically, I know that it takes me longer to read things. Like,
Yep.
and for someone who maybe has an eidetic memory, they can actually be a trillionaire in a year. But as far as goal setting for like the individual, like even though I have this very ambitious goal and I'm trying to shoot for it, I have to set realistic goals along the way so that I don't accidentally deter myself from.
Yes,
achieving
yes.
that
Realistic goals are better. I mean, obviously, I always think there's like, I probably even shared some shit on my story about this. Like there are times where you know what you're capable of, and you'll say your goal or your dream, and people will think you're fucking crazy.
Yep.
And you never want to listen to those people but I think that is why it's important to actually have realistic goals. Like,
Right.
but sometimes your goals might sound unrealistic to other people.
Exactly.
But you know because you've done things like that before, or like you just know you're capable of it.
Exactly.
And so it sounds crazy to them, but it's to you, it's like it's not crazy. I just have to put in the work. And I think if people do that, like I'm a real big believer in like if you really want something, like you will get it if you work for it.
Yep.
I do think that like people don't like to hear that because they want to pretend like somebody else held them back, or it's some other reason why they weren't able to get what they want.
And that's why I never accept that excuse from like getting what I talk to. And like people will call me crass for that. And but most of the people in my circle that I speak to, like you and even my closest friends, they understand that, which is why we're still.
Well, they're more high ambitious people, probably.
Right,
They have
we're
similar.
all relatively on the same level, and wherever your ambition is, we all understand too. Is that we hold ourselves accountable,
Right.
For everything that we do.
Yeah, they always say like if you want to know who your real friends are, you make a healthy, positive change, and if their people are happy for you, those are your real friends.
Right.
If they're not happy for you, they were never actually your friend. They're like.
Right.
Like, you know, say you make a change and it's going to mean you're spending less time with them, and then they're unhappy. Whoa, no, don't. But if they're your real friend, they'll be like, "Whoa, you quit that. You quit doing this, and you're doing this new healthy thing. Good for you. Keep going." You know, like.
And that is the beautiful thing that I think even you've probably found as well. Is like as I've been training super hard and it eats up a lot of my time and stuff, I found that all my friends are pretty much still there.
Right. You want to hear like the dopest saying? One of my clients sent me this.
Hit me with it.
I don't know. I do like having all these clients because, like, man, it's so fun watching people like grow as people, or like you'll see how they see you. You know, like, this is like a powerful one. It was let's see.
Yeah, watching people grow.
Yeah. So she says sent this meme. It's or whatever text thing. It probably has the. I don't know. It doesn't actually have who said it, but it says a common trait I've noticed in the most successful people. They'll tell you no without a second thought if what you're asking them to do doesn't align with where they want to go in life.
Yes.
So like it's like if this isn't actually going to help me with my dream, like hey, like cuz I'll have it like you know, and maybe this is dumb because you know like you should like enjoy life and have fun sometimes, but like even like stuff like Nick, like there's this concert. Do you want to go? And it's like that doesn't help me grow my personal training business, my podcast. It's weird. Like I could see like okay, take a minute, and you know I did go to a concert with my buddy, but like it's like for the most part it's just like no, like I don't act. It's like I that's not gonna help me get to where I want to be. So if it's not, then it's not anything I want to do.
Right.
Like going home for Christmas, that's different. That's I got to go see my family. I love my family.
Well,
that's more important. Family's the most important thing.
Even going to the concert, though, I mean, like, you pick and choose your times where you know your body needs to relax and do stuff. So that does fall into the alignment.
Like, that could be your recovery time. Yeah, for me, it's always hard to get there,
but
though. Like,
saying that quote, at least the way I interpreted it, is, you know, successful people are okay with saying no.
No.
And
no is a superpower.
Saying no, when I discovered that superpower, I felt like a new man.
Yeah, it's
and I remember exactly when I discovered it. I was... Actually, I was in college, and I felt like I was doing all this stuff to be where I was trying to go, and doing it. I couldn't quite tell if it was because my parents wanted me to be that,
or if you actually.
If I wanted to do it, I felt like I was a very giving person. I was always saying yes. I felt really, and I genuinely felt good being there for like everybody and trying to spread my time between everyone.
Right.
But there is truth in being able to. There's
well, it's like people pleasing a little bit, right? Like
it's people pleasing, but at the same time, it was people pleasing to the point where it was taking away from myself.
Right.
And so learning to say no wasn't to be mean, but it's so that I can invest time for myself.
It's like if your friend was like, "Hey, do you want to go for a run, or do you want like something that has to do with Muay Thai, or do you want to?" You'd be like, "Yeah." Because that actually helps you with your goal.
Right, and there are times where I'll still say no, even if it's related to something. If it aligns with a goal, but
maybe you just you have time, you need something you have to do, or like, yeah. I just think no is really good because like we get stretched out too thin, and it's like, how does this actually benefit me? Right. Like some of my friends wanted me to go like caucus the other day, and I was like, you know, I'd like to. Caucus, yeah. No, but I was like, you know. But I would have to cancel my morning clients, and to me, my business is more important to me than that. Like I'm like I can always vote later. I'll vote, you know. Like I would love to, but I got to put this ahead of that. You know, this is more important to me. So.
Here, if you love supporting the podcast and or the subscription program, and if you really want to do, this guy a service, make sure you listen to what he's sponsored with. Take advantage of discounts. You know, if you look at manscaped.com, 20% off with the code Nicky Fit. You know, why not? Why not do yourself a service and clean up downstairs?
Do your balls a service,
dude. You do not want to be looking unkept for your
partner.
partner.
You're talking about like, hey guys, quit fucking watching porn. Actually go out and find a real woman. So to start with that, order a Manscaped Lawnmower 4.0 and shave them balls up. So
I love the lawnmower.
Dude, she's gonna like, you know, pull it out and it's gonna be all hairy and gross. She's gonna be like, what the fuck?
Like, what the fuck is this?
Clean that shit up, dude.
If they clean up, you should clean up.
You gotta.
You know what? It's the law.
Well, yeah, and you want them to clean up, so you better fucking clean up too,
yes,
bro.
be presentable, men. Be presentable, men out there.
We love it, dude.
And that is, excuse me. Yeah, saying no, super big superpower.
It's a superpower.
Yeah, and when I discovered it, like I was on the phone with my parents, and I was like, I basically, it wasn't like a screaming match. It was like me just letting out that many years of my existence, basically not understanding like, oh, I'm an adult and I can make decisions for myself.
Yeah,
and
you don't even know you can do
it.
I
didn't know I was allowed to say the word no.
Is this okay?
Right. It's like I was basically trying to tell them like, I need to start saying
boundaries.
No.
That's
right,
what like
boundaries.
A therapist would call it, boundaries.
Right.
You know, like having healthy boundaries.
It was a boundary setting thing, and from that day is when I started, you know, really understanding.
It's empowering,
myself.
dude. It's empowering. You realize like you are the one taking care of yourself. Like you are the one that's gonna. I always like that. The I've been saying this a lot lately. The whole like adulting thing. Like I'm trying to reframe. Like being an adult is a good thing.
It is.
Like I'm like. We all, because like I get it what it means. It mean like I was trying to talk to somebody about it. Like it doesn't mean I think people should lose like their sense of childhood wonder, or like become old and bitter, because I think that also sucks. You know, like so keep that excitement about life. Like you know, like I still love Legos. I'll play the fucking Legos right now. I'll build them.
Together some Legos the other day.
But like this idea we have in America or whatever, just culture right now, where like. I don't ever want to grow up. I never want to be. It means basically like you don't ever want responsibility, and it's like I'm sorry, but that's someday you're gonna have to take your own responsibility for yourself.
Right.
Stop expecting other people to take care of you. You know what I mean? Like so, to me, the idea of being an adult should be empowering to you. Like I'm in control of myself, and I think boundaries and saying no are like one part of that.
It is.
You know?
Absolutely, because those boundaries are going to help framework for how you take care of yourself and what you allow into your life.
And you teach people what's okay, how to treat you.
Right. And I hope that inherently, that's why I come off as crass sometimes around certain people. Like, I do not hesitate to say, like, no. I do not hesitate to say, like, I don't like that. And I try my best to not sound like an ass when I do
but
it,
know.
But at the same time, there's a certain way that I can only say certain things in a very certain way. There are only a finite amount of ways to say something.
Well, and you know the other thing is like at some point, this is the other one. So like, you know, saying no is a superpower. And this is from, I think, I listened to this dude, Chris Willix, I think. I don't remember how to say his last name, but has a podcast. And he had this one subject where he was talking about the ability to be okay with other people disliking or hating you is a superpower. That is. And I'm like, because that comes along with the no thing. Like you're saying, like, I'm trying to think of nice ways to say it. At some point, it really isn't your responsibility to find a nice way to say it. It's just like, no.
It's like, this is the correct English.
There was another one. It was like,
just say disagree.
It was like, if the answer isn't, what is it? If the answer isn't like, fuck yes, then it's a no. Or hell yeah. I can't remember if it was like, but it was basically like saying if there's something in your life where it doesn't make you excited, then the answer is actually no. Like if you're trying to decide something and you aren't like, fuck yes, let's go, then the answer is actually no. You're just doing it because you're trying to make somebody else happy. Basically.
It's kind of like what I said earlier about our language being complicated. Yeah. And like over there using the word need or want. It's like very, not binary, but like because they have a more limited set of words to use.
Well, I kind of like it.
It's very direct in terms of like how they speak.
Yeah.
And so, if it's not yes, it's no. But here,
well, I kind of like that because that would take like that would mean like if I want something, it's just as imperative that I have it as it is for me to eat or breathe.
Right. Exactly.
So it's kind of cool because it means like I desire this thing, and they don't really differentiate between a desire or a need.
Right. And
which is kind of cool because it's like, hey, I'm gonna get my fucking bag, you know.
Right.
Like,
and someone could say like yes or no if it's like a request, and then like I think that's where the idea of being okay with like a disagreement or like a negatory response it's kind of just like, okay, because that's like the way their language is constructed.
Right.
Versus here, we have 1,000 different ways to say maybe, no, and
I'm sure maybe
like,
is like a no.
Right. And I'm sure like they probably have that, and I just don't understand the language that well enough to really, understand it. But like here, like you said, if it's not yes, it's no, truly. But here we're kind of like, it's not.
Yeah,
no,
you always like don't want to hurt
like,
people's feelings. Like, hey, you want to? Yeah, maybe. Sure, I'll let you know. But really inside, you're like, fuck, no, I ain't doing that shit.
Yeah, I don't think in Thailand they.
But like, you couldn't say that because like that would just like hurt that person's feelings. Like, you really want to be like, fuck, no, I'm not gonna do that. Are you serious? What a waste of my fucking time.
But yeah, that is an absolute superpower, and also paired with. Even despite we say being aware of people's feelings is not
right, and I think we should still have empathy and still show kindness and love, but
that is equally
you got to take care of yourself.
Right.
You really aren't being kind if you're not putting yourself, taking care of yourself first.
Right.
So
and also at the same time, but taking care of yourself so you can take care of others.
Right, you're going to be pouring from an empty cup, basically. That's what they say. It's like, I don't mean be selfish, because I actually think I think the best way to help yourself is to help others. You know what I mean? Like you get.
I thought we just said the other way around.
Well,
but at the same time, like.
But I don't mean at the expense of yourself. I mean I mean it is like a.
There's a juxtaposition.
It's kind of a
paradox here.
Yeah.
But I see what you're saying. They're both kind of true.
Well, you feel good when you help other people. So it's like. It's really you're helping yourself by helping other people. Exactly. But I'm saying like not in a way that's like people pleasing or like putting their needs ahead of yours as far as like taking, because if you're healthy, you're going to have boundaries, and then you're going to be able to actually, like you said, take care of the people you love better.
Exactly.
So
like, I think there's a funny duality there. Like you can't take care of anyone if you can't take care of yourself.
Yes.
But also taking care of other people helps you take care of yourself.
Yeah, it is like weird.
It's really funny when you think about it. It's just you have to. There's an ebb and flow for when you do certain things. Like I'm never always have my cup, full. There are times when my cup is definitely.
Well, say you're always trying to like please other people.
Yeah.
And so you're always doing what other people want. Eventually there's going to be a weird bitterness or resentment in you, and then you're not even going to be a fun person to be around. So it's like, are you really helping them? Because now you're like a miserable person. You're bitter. You're like saying cynical shit all the time, and it's like, so is it really helpful, or could you, if you just stood up for yourself, have those boundaries, take care of yourself, you're going to be happier, and then the people you interact with will be better off because of it.
And that's where the superpower of saying no or setting boundaries comes into place. Is when your cup is empty,
the cup runneth over.
You have to have the ability to say no, not to be mean,
a dick.
Really is to say like, hey, my cup is empty. It's not that I don't want to do more. Or
if I could help you out, I would right now, but
I really don't have any more resources to expend. You need to give me time to build my resources again, so I can do that.
Yeah, well, that's even like a sense of like recharging or whatever, right? Yeah, because when your resources are high, you're happy to help other people.
Oh, absolutely.
That's why, like, honestly, like rich people donate the most money. It's like, well, they get a tax write-off probably too, but you know what I mean? Like, still they feel good about doing it.
If I made a lot more money, I wouldn't think twice about giving it.
No, and it does make you feel good.
It makes me feel good in the sense that I really do feel like by doing that, because money, unfortunately, is a resource that it's a necessity.
We need it.
Here. We need it, and other people need it. And I honestly feel like we work at our best when we work together. So if I'm giving
mutual beneficial stuff,
right. So if I have an absorbent amount of money that I'm gonna spend the rest of my life trying to figure out how to spend. I'm going to give it away and give it to people, or put it in places where I think it could benefit others, because ultimately that's just going to further us as people.
Right. Like that's community thinking instead of just self-thinking. Yeah. And you want to enrich the whole community, not just yourself.
Right. Yeah. I mean, and there are people who will do it just because either tax write-off or it just looks good for people.
But even so, it doesn't even matter, because it's still a good thing. A good act is a good act, no matter what the reason behind it was.
That's another thing. You have to learn to stop trying to really think about what is everyone's motivation or reason for doing everything. It's kind of like, well, you're trying to be successful, or a good way of
he did it just to look good.
Stay in your own lane, you know.
Right.
Like, yes, look at what other people do, emulate what you think as well, but don't try to fixate or obsess over what someone else is doing at the same time.
Well, that's like what is it? The comparison is the thief of joy thing. Like,
I've never heard that, but I like it.
Yeah, they say if you compare yourself, which, like, to me, I actually like. People use that in, like, the fitness thing. Like, don't compare yourself to all these fitness influencers and stuff. But, like,
yeah, because when you start,
for me, I actually like to have, like, all the best physiques on my phone following, because, like, to me, I actually just get motivated by it. I see it and I'm like, damn, they're working hard. I want to work hard.
Well, it takes a different, specific type of person, and they have to be at a very specific point to look at it that way. Because I can very much see, like, I know my first day of me working out however many years ago, I'm like the skinny little kid, and like big dude is on the bench right next to me, and I'm like, man, I'm never gonna look like that. And you're going in every day, and, like, gains, you've got them, but, like, it takes time to reach that point.
Right.
But it's not until you do it for a little bit and you start becoming comfortable, and ultimately, again, this goes back to being comfortable with yourself. It's not until you become more comfortable and accepting of yourself and where you are in your journey that you can actually look at those other things.
It's tough, right? So, like, I'll see somebody with a physique, like, I know I could never get just genetically, but I'll still be like, man, good for them.
Awesome.
That's awesome.
Right. That
but it takes a while to get there. I think people, like, it's a jealousy. It's like that little green envy.
It's jealousy because it's not, you haven't quite found acceptance in your situation.
Yeah, right.
Like, I've always wanted to have bigger calves, for example. I have higher set calf muscles. I see, like,
my calves are shit.
Right? But I learned to accept that these calves can do things that other people can't do. Like, I'm pretty fast, or, like, I used to be. All right, no, I'm still pretty decent. Like, I do Muay Thai. They're pretty strong legs. They, despite how they look, like, these are functional and perfect for me.
Right.
And after I accepted that,
you stopped using the comparison. You started to So what you basically did was practice gratitude for the gifts you do have. Exactly. And that's, like, the antidote to, like, jealousy and hatred and bitterness is gratitude. Like, as cheesy as it sounds, like, what am I thinking? Like I said, we just had that friend of ours pass away in the community, and it's like you start appreciating, like, I'm alive. Like, I'm alive. Somebody else is not alive, and now I'm alive. Like, what am I gonna do with it?
Yeah.
What am I gonna do with it? Like, to me, it's like, if you're alive, especially here in America where stuff's so easy. Like, even if you're poor, it's like, life's hard if you're poor, but is it really hard? Like,
comparatively,
are you trying to outrun a fucking lion that's trying to bite your jugular? Because otherwise, that's not really hard.
Yeah, like, it's like, all right.
Like,
can buy you that comparison, right?
Yeah, so I'm like, that's the gratitude of, like, what I do have and what I'm capable of. Like, I don't know. So it's like, and then, like you say, like, all my calves are small, but it's like, oh, there's a dude in a wheelchair.
Exactly.
It's like, shit.
That too. Whenever I'm thinking
fuck,
about
at
my
least
legs,
I can, like, use my calves. Yeah.
Like, my buddy, like, a bed. He's had.
How's he doing?
His ankle.
Is he still fucked? I feel like that's been years now.
It's been about a year now. I think a full year and some change. And
so he hasn't been able to train anymore?
Hasn't been able to train. Yeah. Not that he doesn't want to, but, like, it's honestly, it's not the best thing for him to try to get back into quickly, because, like, his whole ankle had to be rebuilt.
And how did you do that?
I wasn't there when it happened.
But shattered, basically.
It broke. And so, but I just saw him the other day, and, like, sometimes when we go hang out, he either has a scooter or he's, like, walking. And honestly, seeing him go through that journey kind of reminds me of, like, exercises that we should all be doing anyway. Like,
maintenance stuff.
Like, I take my legs for granted, and I know that he did too, because we were talking about, oh, this is how we're supposed to be walking, this is how we should be stretching, this is how we should be doing this.
Right, my knees are fucking me up right now. They're getting painful, and I'm like, well, I haven't been doing my stretches. Of course they're doing that. Like, dude, you got to be on top of this shit.
Exactly. And
you can't. There's, like, you're not at an age where you can just, like, slack off on the important stuff like that.
I know. I'm starting to.
I saw this, like, fucking like, stretching routine that Chris Bumstead was doing. And I was like, oh my God, why am I not doing that every morning?
Yep.
Like, you know how good I would feel? I just watched him do it. And like, he's just like against the wall and he's just like doing something and then he's reaching all the way to the other side. He's like, you know, twisting the whole torso. And you know, it's like, whoa, like just if you did that every day, think how good you'd feel.
The problem is that we just don't feel like we have those 10 minutes in the morning.
And it's all it is. It's like literally totally 10 or 15 minutes. Yeah.
I use that time to just sit on the toilet and look at my phone.
Oh God, you know so much time spent just like. I think I have ADD or ADHD because I could park in the parking lot at the grocery store going to get something. And I'll accidentally like look, and then I'm like, shit, it's been fucking 10 minutes. What am I doing? It's like a trance that takes over me, and I'm like, what in the fuck? Like, think about what I could have done with that 10 minutes. I could have been making money or fucking getting better at something or reading or like.
You could have been doing something. But yeah, the way that my chiropractor describes it, I mean, it's like making deposits and withdrawals. And
right.
The most valuable currency I feel that as I'm starting to continue to live and understand things, I mean, time and health for sure. So
I'm with you on time. I think time's the most valuable.
Time is definitely that's number one.
Oh my God, we don't appreciate it.
We really don't. But you extend your time by taking care of your body and health.
Yes.
So that's where like I was making deposits and withdrawals.
Yep.
Deposits are when he tells me about these stretches that he recommends that I do.
Right.
And it's not just for like my back. It's like all kind.
And being an athlete where you're doing a contact sport, dude, like you got to be on top of that stuff.
You have to.
That's going to stop you, like the difference between you getting injured or not.
Exactly, and those are your deposits, and so you make those deposits over time. So every single morning you do your 5 to 10 minute stretch. Those are your deposits, so that maybe when game day comes, you can make the withdrawals that you need.
Right, and if you don't make those deposits, like you're going to be on E.
Exactly.
Like it's not something you can just like stop doing. You have to keep putting in over and over.
You have to.
There's like the sweeping the floor analogy, so it's like that's like fitness it's like maintenance. Like if you just sweep it every day, the floor stays clean.
Yep.
But if you like let it go, one day you don't do it, then the next day it's like even harder to sweep it. Like
yes, exactly.
But if you just do that little bit of maintenance, it's the same basically thing you're talking about. Make those little deposits. Otherwise you're gonna have to make a really big deposit, and you're not gonna be able to.
It's gonna take a lot more time.
Your withdrawal, you're gonna be overdrawn. You're gonna be overdrawn at your bank because you didn't put enough deposits, and you just took a huge withdrawal.
Exactly.
So now you're in the red. You're in the negative.
Exactly, and that's what I have to remember now, because as a kid, you're springy. You don't really have to worry about stretching in the morning.
My God, no.
But as you start transitioning into getting
right.
I mean.
Even now I take it for granted. I'm like, I'm fine. Because, lifting, you stretch a lot while you're lifting in a sense. But then it's like, why are my knees acting up? And then I kind of use the excuse of like, I'm so busy with my personal training that I'll like let little things slip, my own, kind of like you said, your boundaries again. Like, remember to put the time into yourself too. Because you start putting your time into all this other stuff, your business, your clients, your other people. It's like, but you can't really be a great role model, coach, someone they can look up to those people if you're not taking care of yourself.
Exactly.
So it's like you got to lead by example.
And so all those things. And when is your next event?
My show is 11 weeks away and 14 weeks away. So one at the beginning of April and one at the end of April.
Oh man, so
you're not
even gonna get a break in between. So after
not really.
All this cutting,
I'm not gonna be able to eat.
And then you're gonna do your show, and then afterwards you're like, I still can't eat.
Yeah, and I do want to eat after these shows, but I don't want to repeat last year. I somehow let it turn into a fucking spiral into like just like binge eating. You know what I mean? Like I just like, and I think that from everybody I've talked to in the sport, that's very normal.
Yeah.
But like it just bled over into my year where like I got these like cravings for certain foods that I'm like, before this I didn't eat this for like years and I didn't even care about it. Why am I so like obsessed with like, I got to go get crumble cookies which I still kind of want them right now, bro. Like I don't know. So I just want to go a little easier after I want to like focus more on after this show, going right into the focus for like training for next year instead of looking at it as like, yay, I'm done. Now I get to celebrate and eat whatever I want. But it's like, why ruin all the like results I just got?
Yeah.
Like, why am I going to just like destroy everything I built so that I can have to rebuild it again, where I could just like enjoy a little bit of stuff that's fun once in a while, not take it overboard and start focusing on the next year without like, not that I like destroyed my physique over this year, but I definitely got like a few bad habits. So I'm like, I don't really need to be indulging in that much, like I'm like, which, I say that and then people are like, yeah, but you're still healthy like 95%. I know.
And like, honestly, even those cheat moments are still contributions to yourself.
They're fun, dude.
Like, you
treat
gotta
yourself.
have to, because like the way that
dude, ice cream. What do you think about ice cream?
Dude,
so good.
I messed up and I bought some Oreo ice cream things from Costco the other day.
Yummy. So good, aren't
but
they?
The thing is, I've been kind of eating one every day, but I kind of tapered off of that just this week. I think I kind of like, I did that.
Well, as much as you're training, dude, a little sugar ain't gonna really kill you.
Right, it's really not going to kill me that bad, especially with like my caloric intake for the day and stuff. I mean, maybe the quality of the food putting in your body. Yeah, ice cream.
Well, that's what I think about the nutrients and the quality. But it's like still okay. You're an athlete, so you're burning calories. You just put some quick burning sugar in, you're gonna use it up. You're fine.
Exactly. So it'll be fine.
But yes, because I had a client. He was like, I really want to have these ice cream sandwiches. I'm like, all right, here's what you do. I was like, every time after we lift, because he lifts heavy. This guy, he's made a lot of progress, and I'm like, dude, you just killed it on your lift. So like when you go home, have a protein shake with your ice cream sandwich. That way you're getting, sugar, but you're still getting protein to hopefully like, cause like protein muscle synthesis after you lift and everything. And I'm like, dude, you'll be fine. Like,
that's actually inherently, I think, what I do. Like, I make sure that I give myself the nutrients I need before I.
Yeah, don't ever eat that shit without the protein though. Always have the protein with it.
If I'm gonna do that,
if you're gonna have a cookie, have like some chicken with it.
Right, or eat like a shit ton of vegetables right before.
Yeah. So have the healthy with the
Exactly.
And then you're good. And it's mostly like you said. It's not really that the food is bad. It's just the nutrient quality. Like you're not giving yourself the building. And then like sugar, it can be like poison. Yeah. The same way we say alcohol is poison, like definitely sugar can be.
It can be. Cause everything in moderation.
Moderation can cause a lot of trouble. But yeah, just like anything else, like almost any drug, it's like moderation. Yeah. Even if it's like I'm like, oh, mushrooms are good, but it's like if you were on mushrooms all day every day, you sure wouldn't get a lot of stuff done. Yeah, you probably.
Absolutely.
You'd be talking to the spirits in the fucking like other universe, but like.
I'd just be sitting there like this all the time.
Yeah, like, what are you doing? Oh, just looking at these visions. Right. Yeah, because if you take enough, you start getting like fucking crazy ass visions and shit. Like,
I remember I like closed my eyes once and like I was enjoying myself, and then I saw like a flash of red, and I was like, I don't like that.
Oh, sometimes they're scary shit, dude. Yeah. People are like, how do you do those and not worry about the dark stuff? I'm like, well, you have to have already basically dealt with your shadow self, and once you like, but if you can accept the worst shit in your psyche, the worst parts of you, and you've already like looked at it and accepted it and know that it's part of you,
I think you'll be alright.
Those mushrooms ain't gonna scare you. Right, they ain't showing you nothing you haven't already seen.
Exactly.
You're fine.
But
you just tell yourself like, this isn't reality. It's just my worst case scenario playing out in my head. This is not real.
Yeah, and even then, I've never quite crossed into like that. Like
I've never had a really bad.
I've never had a bad one either. It's always been really nice. Like I just look at a tree and I'd be like, "Oh, nice tree."
They're so great.
Like, you know what I mean?
I think they might solve all the world's problems if people, if we had like everybody do them. I don't know.
Yeah, like I liked it as like a good as a reset. Like
that's what it does.
I mean,
it resets your brain basically.
The last time I did them, it was like a good emotional reset because I was just like super stressed about like everything. Like I basically I made a lot more withdrawals than deposits.
So you were in a rough place at the time.
And so not that it was like a bad like spot in my time, but I just was stressed and like pretty spread thin. Yeah. So it was a good way to remind myself that I am spread thin, and like it reminded me, hey, you need to make some deposits.
Yeah, like you just need to take care of yourself. You'll be fine. Right. Yeah. But it does reset because it's what it does. It causes neuroplasticity. So like all the little connections in your brain, it basically just like gives you a clean slate to like now you can rewire it. You know, exactly. Like so like that shit you've been telling yourself that's a lie. Like I'm not good enough. I can't do this. Like, you know. You start saying that stuff over and over again, and what it does is it creates these little pathways, neural pathways in your brain, and they get strengthened the more you think it. Right. So that's what happens with people with like childhood trauma. Like, so their parent was hard on them, like, you'll never amount to nothing. You're a piece of shit. You've always been a piece of shit. So that's some girl like heard that growing up, and now in her head like, I'm a piece of shit. I'll never amount to anything. And that's like, but she's thought it and heard the voice of her, whoever said it to her over and over again. Right. And it gets so fucking strong. It's like working out a muscle. It gets stronger the more it, and then you come and take those mushrooms, and all of a sudden it's like poof, just like wipes that out. And then it's like, wait, why the fuck did I think that? That's not true at all.
Where did that come from?
You like all of a sudden you see like a different perspective from the universe, and you're like, oh, what? Like that's the dumbest shit I was ever telling myself. Why was I thinking that?
For that long.
And then you can like realize you get to program it. So like that means now you can, think of like positive things in your head. Like, oh shit, I can, you know what? I'm really actually fucking good at this. Like I could go do this. Like I thought I couldn't because I had this voice saying like, you're not good enough to do that. But it's like, wait, I have a track record that I've seen. Like shit, I'm really good at this thing. Like I can go be a real estate. Whatever it is.
Exactly,
like it's
whatever
like,
it is. And that's the good, surprising thing is like you at times we focus so much about where we're trying to go that we forget to look at ourselves where we are right now.
Yeah, we don't appreciate
right now.
Yeah,
you're doing pretty okay,
dude. If I do that too, where if I ever feel like shitty or like I'm not getting anywhere, I'll be like, I'll like see something pop up like, from my earlier 30s. Not that they were a bad time. I enjoyed myself, but I'll be like, whoa, look at the progress. I'm actually like healthier, more fit at like 39 than I was at 33.
Yeah.
And I'm like, my life's better. Like I have more money, I make more money. I'm like more confident. I'm in better shape. Like, and I'll be like, oh fuck, that's so you like just keep going, dude.
Yeah,
just keep going. What are you doing? Like, what like I don't know. Like sometimes you need that little reminder of where you've been and then where you are, and you're like, oh fuck, I'm doing good. I'm fine. I'm fine. I've been here before. I know how to fucking do this.
And regardless of how bad things seem like they are, that's what I try to always remind myself is that I'm doing okay. And
you are doing good, dude. You're doing great. Yeah.
I'm not the best at reminding myself that either. Sometimes like I will call my parents and I'm like, and so it's again, it does take a village in a lot of sense. So
I think so.
We talked about community earlier. I mean,
having friends too to play that stuff off of, like friends, to share your doubts with, like
peers, everyone. I mean, I definitely will call them and I'm like, hey, I'm stressing out over this, or I feel like I need to be doing this, X, Y, Z, whatever. And to be honest, they might say the most basic thing, but it helps to reframe myself to think,
you're like, oh yeah, dude, you fucking did this. Remember that? You're like, oh shit, yeah, I am the guy that did that. I can fucking handle whatever this is.
It's like, I don't know what I'm tripping off of right now. Yeah, thanks.
We just do that sometimes. I think we do that sometimes. Yeah. We like, it's like you doubt yourself. There's definitely imposter syndrome is a big one, dude, where you don't realize, like, it took me along with that with like anything, like, like even being a coach with the training, like it took me like having really good results with people and then getting the feedback from them, and like that's how I got better at it. And then I still don't like ever, I never like to think I'm like great at stuff because I don't ever want to think that, because otherwise I will never be able to be that.
I mean, you are great, but you just continue to keep
but that's what I'm saying. You don't want to like start thinking you're the shit, because that's when you suck.
That's when you start becoming complacent.
You always want to think you suck so that you try harder. That's my own personal.
Exactly.
Like I mean, obviously you want to feel competent and you should feel comfortable, like knowing your value, so like, well, I mean, like otherwise you wouldn't value your own time, like.
Right.
So you got to have a price and a value on your time. Like, hey, yeah, I'm a coach, but I cost this much money to have, and like, you can't like go light on that. Otherwise, you're going to be like shortchanging yourself, giving out free stuff all the time.
Right. Exactly.
But also, you don't want to just think you're like the shit, because then you get complacent and you stop learning. You stop growing. So how are you supposed to be a good coach if you're not always like, I know this is what I've done in the past, but now I've seen this new thing, and I think like this seems helpful. To be, so you'll add a little bit to your arsenal from like. So I think you never want to stop learning.
You definitely never want to stop learning. I mean, that's like, even when I came back from Thailand, I feel like I don't do well when people congratulate or like I say congratulate like whether it's after a fight or after I come back from doing something
I hate
to the sport. I always feel weird when I walk in and like there's the guy who did this and I'm like that's me, thank you. But,
I know, I get so fucking when people give me compliments I'm always like ugh.
It's like when people are singing happy birthday to you, you just
I fucking hate birthdays, dude. I'm like birthdays are not my thing. I'm just like compliment, like it's funny because I don't know why I just don't like birthdays.
Right.
I'm like,
But with the thing is, despite me doing that, it's very easy for someone to be like, yeah, I went to Thailand and I came back. Now I'm the man because I went to the motherland to train.
No, you don't want to be like that.
I just because of my being, and I think you understand that because we obviously interact with each other. It's just something I've had to not strongly, but really tell myself like, no, you're still not that guy. You have a long way to go.
Yeah.
There are a million different people.
But that's why you're good. That's why you're good though, because you keep thinking like that. You're humble. You gotta stay humble so you can.
And also too that it reminds me this is why I continue to do it because there's something to learn. And despite yes, I did come back with new tools and stuff, and it's also my responsibility to try to improve. So I was working with a training partner yesterday. I was holding pads for him, and I showed him like a combo that like I kind of like picked up while I was in Thailand. And now I'm looking at it and I'm like, I'm gonna have to deal with this in sparring now because I just taught you this thing that's gonna like annoy me.
You gave him a tool. Right, you gave him a tool.
But that's what I want too, because like if he's pushing me to be a certain way,
because now you got to be. If you know that tool, you want to be good at defending against that tool as well.
Right.
So now, how are you supposed to do that if nobody else knows that tool?
Exactly, and I'm also looking at it from a perspective of that tool it works best with him too because of his
right.
style.
So you might pick up a technique that's like actually for me it doesn't work that good, but this guy that's gonna be perfect for him.
Exactly.
I think fighting is like that a lot, isn't it?
It is, or just like any kind of ambitious endeavor.
Well, even like pro wrestling, you think about it, like there's probably stuff where like, with me, my height and whatever, like this move isn't going to work great for me. It's not going to make any sense. It's not going to make sense. But dude, you know what you should do? I got this idea. You should try this because at your height, it's going to, you know what I mean? Yeah,
exactly. So you want to, empower the people around you. And instead of being,
help build them up.
And I think someone who kind of comes back and is like, oh, I'm the man, and like, they almost gatekeep some of that knowledge. And
that's called gatekeeping, isn't
gatekeeping,
it? Yeah.
You don't want to. I definitely don't want to gatekeep it. And
no, I don't like gatekeeping. I think it's actually weak.
Right. It's a bit. I think
it's a weakness.
It is
in a sense.
It highlights.
I mean, unless you're at a really high level and it like matters, like.
To like your opponent,
right? Like, obviously you're not gonna like share this with your opponent, but like your teammates, yeah.
Like,
well, as you're doing it,
then that's when you share it with them. So, but
there is something about gatekeeping. I feel like it's a weak man thing, a little bit,
Because what you're ultimately doing is saying, "Hey, I don't want you to ride on my coattails or surpass me.
Right.
I'm insecure in the fact that I think that." If I tell you this thing, you're going to become better than me.
I do think, in a sense, though, like, if you do have the ability to teach and share things, like, there is a little bit of gatekeeping in the sense of, like, I like this person. I think they're worthy. I think they're a good guy, so I want to share this knowledge with them. And I think they're actually going to listen to me and implement it. Versus, like, you know what? This guy's a waste of my fucking time. He's a piece of shit. I'm not telling him shit. You know what I mean? There's some of that too.
Like, you don't
like this guy, I don't even like him. I'm not. He can figure that shit out on his own. Like,
and it does also come down to what are the other person's intentions with the knowledge.
Right. You want to be. You're trying to share it with somebody you think is worthy and has the same values as you and is going to do well with it. Like, you wouldn't teach, like you said, your enemy or somebody that. You know what I mean?
Like I'm not going to teach a fish how to breathe air. Yeah. You know what I mean? Yeah. It's just like, it's not that, I mean, sure, they could learn to do it and that'd be cool. But, like, a fish does well swimming in water and that's its area and that's where it excels at. So me trying to teach it to breathe air, it's not going to be super receptive to that probably. Right. And that's okay. But, I go teach a turtle how to
it's funny because it's kind of like it's like having a patent or something and then you make a lot of money. But if it's like a drug or something that could save everybody, like wouldn't you want to just release it so everybody could make it so it would be cheap?
Yeah.
You'd think,
In
but
theory,
that's like
you would
definitely
think,
not
yeah.
how the pharmaceutical companies
That's
work.
not how it works. They need to make their
I
money.
know. It's like, damn. Like, you would think it would be like, well, because I think like Elon Musk did that with like Tesla. He just released all the patents, right? So like he wants that technology to be able out there for everybody. I believe.
Oh, that's pretty great.
And I think he had that. That's like where he got in the argument with something with AI. He thinks it should all be like open source.
Yeah.
Otherwise like. But I don't know. Yeah.
Like, it's good and bad.
Well, what if like you're like another country that's like your rival got a hold of it too, and then like
Right.
you got to think of that a little bit. But
it's one of those things where like I can try to think of whether it's good or bad, but I just have to remember it's consequence and action, and we like to inherently think people are good and that they will do the right.
right,
thing
so I
most
can
of the
trust
time.
you with this really dangerous thing, but
Right.
it's like, oh shit, I should have never told them that because look what they just did.
Exactly, and so it's kind of the bed that you make yourself.
This is
You
actually
can't
like
really.
a lot of fucking like martial art movies. Like the master trains somebody, but he doesn't realize the person's gonna go use it for evil, and the person goes and uses it for evil. Then he has to train like the new kid, like to go
With
fight
the
the bad kid.
With the hopes that kid doesn't
I taught
turn
him. I
evil.
taught him this, and I never should have. He's using it for evil, but I'm
Yeah.
gonna teach you the same thing. And that's like the plot of every fucking like, you know what I mean? Like,
But I mean, it
Holy
is.
shit.
But and there's little lessons you can take into that. So one, like putting your faith into another person, like you do with the information.
Trust,
that
yeah.
Trust, and you do at that time what you feel is best, and you don't know what the true outcome of it is going to be.
Right.
So, I tell this person how to do this technique. It could go be used for evil. At the time, I didn't know that. So don't beat yourself over it because that's
Right.
not your responsibility.
Right.
You were doing what you thought was.
They're misusing it, not you.
Right.
You didn't do anything wrong, really.
But then again, the lesson in like the trope that you just described is again putting trust in people continually. Like you don't let a one bad experience.
Well, and then don't let when something like that happens make you not trust again.
Exactly.
That's the bad thing. Is like you'll let that, and that's the same thing with like relationships or whatever. Like you have a bad experience, and then you're like, oh, I'll never fall in love again. I'll never trust it. And it's like shit. Well, now you're just gonna be alone, dude.
Or like gatekeeping information, like we just said as well. I mean, like just because you had one experience where someone took it and ran with it and did something
shitty.
like,
don't stop that from letting you share it with somebody good.
Right, because
the next time,
that very negative experience you had could also turn out to be with someone else. It could be a very positive thing.
Right.
In fact, maybe even one that outweighs the negative.
The negative one.
So yeah, So that's really a conversation on just taking chances and like having faith in other people and yourself.
Having a good like outlook on people in general. Do you think there's like a lot of people who just hate people?
Yes.
I feel like there's a lot of that. Like
I think it's maybe because they just see. There is a lot of reason to hate people.
I fucking hate people. Which I get it, because I'll do that sometimes.
Right.
Like obviously working in the service industry, sometimes you run into very entitled people, and you're like, God, I fucking hate people. Ugh.
I think.
But I really love people.
I think what you're describing is the people who say that they hate people haven't.
They don't actually hate people.
I don't think they actually hate people, or if they say that, it's they haven't taken the time to sit down and really think about where other people are coming from.
They have an expectation how they want people to be,
Right.
and then when the people don't live up to that expectation, then they hate them.
Exactly, and I catch myself doing it all the time.
I do it all the time,
especially
dude.
when I'm like when I'm driving here. I'm like, how do you not know to like do?
Oh,
this or
drivers
whatever?
drive me
Like,
nuts. I'll be like,
it's-
what are you fucking doing?
Right, but I also have to remember, like, okay, maybe if this is someone who did recently immigrate here and they
might not know.
They need to have transportation. They're still figuring it out. I was fortunate enough to be 15, have very good driving instructors be my parents, so I can.
Well, imagine if I'm in another country. I don't know how the fucking shit works over there, and I'm making an ass of myself. Like, I'd hope that someone would have grace and patience with me.
Like I was over,
and
in
we need to
Thailand.
do that with these people here.
Yep.
And I don't even mean these people, anybody. They could be any race, whatever.
Yeah, exactly.
But like, there's people that can't drive well.
Like it's very possible that they have a very valid reason for not. And also, there's things to be said. Being an adult, if you're doing it as an adult versus being younger, how we learn things easier when we're younger.
When you're young,
but when you're an adult, you have all this fear and idea of how the world works.
Oh, yeah, it's so much harder to learn.
It makes it that much harder to really maybe even get behind the wheel, knowing the dangers that are on the road.
Yeah, I get mad all the time. Like, it'd be like, you're in a hurry, and then, you know, like, you'll be taking a left, and they'll have, like, the yellow light on. There's, like, plenty of room for the motherfucker in front of you to go. And you're like, why aren't you going? And they're, like, scared, like, oh, I better wait for these cars. It's like, bitch, you could have gone 3 times by the time. Like, you know, you could have went 3 times, but, you know. But then you look down, and you're like, oh, student driver. You're like, shit, why did I get mad? It's like, they probably don't know any better. Like,
and that's the thing that you have to remember when, you know, I think people don't necessarily hate other people. I think just they don't take the time to really try to understand where they're coming from. Ooh, because that's a good point, dude. That is, like, so I guess a short story. When I was back in South Carolina, I basically drove through a shootout.
Holy shit.
Yeah, like, I feel like my life flashed before my eyes while I wasn't, like, in the altercation that caused the shootout.
Yeah, but it still would affect you.
Like, I could have been caught by... So, basically, I was just returning an item that morning. It was a Sunday morning around noon. Mm-hmm. And this is a part of town where, like, it makes sense that it would happen there when I look back at it. But, like, this is actually a really good part of, like, you know, town. Like, nothing like that has ever really happened. I grew up on this, you know, road. Right. A lot of businesses, broad daylight, like, very safe place to really be. Uh-huh. And, you know, I get out of the store, and I hop in my dad's truck, because that's what I'm driving when I'm there. And I get out of my parking space, and I start driving. And so it's in a parking lot, and you have one car that's parked across, like, 2 parking spaces on one part of the aisle. Yeah. And on the other aisle, you have another car. And so I drove right in between them, and then I just hear someone from one of the cars shout, "Little boy." And I was like, I don't understand. And then I get through the 2 cars. I stop right here because there's a stop sign. Right. And then I look back. I was like, are they talking to me? And then I hear pop, 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 pop. Oh, dude, and that's scary. And I just sped off and called the cops. And the last thing I remember seeing before I sped off was, like, a kid, I say a kid, but a young man running towards the stores that I was coming from while it looked like he was shooting blindly. And surprisingly, no one got shot. Like, in that.
Thank God.
I say thank God, but also he really was shooting blindly, and that could have went. Those bullets that he shot, and they were about 8.
Could have went anywhere.
It could have went anywhere. Could have hit me. Could have hit anybody else who was, like, in the area. And so I say that to say is the reason why that happened is because when I look back at the reports, it was a road rage. It was a road rage incident. I think someone didn't turn on their blinker. They pulled over to the parking lot and got to a screaming match, whatever. And for whatever reason, the guy thought he's gonna pull out a gun and shoot someone.
Dude, that is not worth going to fucking jail for, man.
Jail or taking someone's life for it.
Killing somebody.
And so I bring all this up to say is with people who say that they don't like other people. They really that highlights a very real thing where we don't take enough time to really think about where people are coming from, why they make the decisions that they make, and also how does it really affect you. They look at something so small as like they didn't like the way that they didn't put their blinker on, and that could have cost someone their life, right?
That's insane,
without
dude.
really even thinking, like, does it really matter? Like, yes, I understand you're putting other drivers at risk by making
but not enough to pull a fucking gun.
Oh, right.
Like, that person was clearly not in the right state of mind. Like,
exactly. And
like, rage they took over.
They found him and did what they needed to do. I guess arrested.
Well, he should definitely go to jail. That's like, bro, that's way too extreme. You know, for someone not using their blinker, it's the only reason you should ever use a gun is self-defense. Exactly. And that's definitely wasn't self-defense.
No, it definitely wasn't.
It's like, seriously.
Definitely wasn't self-defense.
That is fucked up, man.
And so, it just take a second to really try to put yourself in someone else's shoes, and just maybe that will save some.
It's tough. We should all do that more. Right. We should all think that more. It is tough. Like, someone pisses you off, and it's like, you got to try to, like, think from their point of view. Well, you know, the other thing is, like, for the most of us, we're going through life as, like, the main character.
Yes, that's...
You know, it's like, bitch, get out of my way.
And you have to
I got places to be.
Exactly. And
it's about me.
That is the hardest thing, is to think that, like I'm sitting here talking to you. I've only ever been in this body. Yeah. I am the main character in my story, but you're also in yours, and I have to remember that you're not just an NPC. You're the main character in your
Do you think some people might actually be NPCs though?
No, I mean,
you think everybody has a soul?
I think everyone does. I
Even
think
like,
it's just
even gingers.
Even gingers.
No, I'm just kidding. That's from South Park, dude.
Even gingers.
I actually love gingers. Yeah.
But like, I think like you can allow yourself to become an NPC if you.
I think
it's
you.
part of
I don't think people are born NPCs. I think they
Right.
become it.
You can allow yourself.
You
to
lose
think
your
that you
soul.
are one if you lose that part or the ambition and all those things that we've talked about. Yes, you can allow yourself to become that way if you so choose.
I think you're right. I think some people turn into NPCs eventually.
Yeah.
Because they're not doing main character shit. And that's why I always tell people, start doing main character shit.
Make your deposits.
I'll tell myself that when I'm like not, I feel like I'm not living up to my potential. I'll be like, bitch.
Go out there.
I don't know why I like that word so much today. I'll be like,
just
get out there.
It's an empowering word now.
Bitch, you need to get down there and do that cardio, bitch.
Yeah,
you do those abs today.
Your lungs aren't where they're supposed to be.
Yeah, dude.
You're not burning the fat that you need to. You know you need to do this, so get down there.
Get down there, do that fucking
good
cardio,
about
baby.
yourself.
Yeah, I'm on 45 minutes of cardio a day. It's like, and it's not.
Yes.
It's just like the stairs or whatever. So it's not like it's like super
I need to
hardcore
start
running.
getting on the stairs.
Stairs are actually really hard, but they're like that weird steady state nice cardio where you're just in that fat burning zone.
Yep.
But they're still like really hard, I don't know. For me, I gotta watch something on my phone. I gotta watch like a series or something to take my mind off it.
I end up just
YouTube.
I think I daydream, like when I'm on the treadmill.
Oh, that's good. That's a good one.
I would like to. I always try to like have something to watch, but then maybe it's because when I'm running, I can't really.
Oh, if you're
focus.
running, I couldn't do it. Like,
So
even some
maybe-
people, I see them reading a book with the page turning. I'm like, I can't do that. I could like listen to an audiobook. Like, I don't know why. It's like, because I'd be like, on the thing moving. I'd be like trying to follow along in the book and like lose the page.
Right.
I guess if it was like a screen and I could just be like next page, and it would just listen to me flip. And I'm sure they have something like that. Like an iPad and you're just like reading it.
You mean a Kindle?
Well, and it's
I
like,
think
yeah,
Kindle's
Kindle, it's
still
like,
pretty
and then I just say to it, next page.
Right. It's like,
Stop. Yeah. There's this, we had this new remote at the bar, and I didn't realize this awesome technology because I'm so old fashioned, but like, I was like trying to find a football game, and I used to always just hit like search, and I'd be like sports, football, bam, is that the game you're looking for? Click. But this new one we have, it's just like, he's like, use the voice thing. I'm like, whoa. So I grab it, and I was just like, I'm like, play the 49ers. And it's like, goes to the game, and it's like, holy shit, that's amazing.
that is so cool.
So like, it just goes to the channel, and I was like, I feel like Batman when he has that thing, and he's like, shields, and he's like, stop. I was like, this is so dope.
Yeah, I think my remote does that too, and it's like kind of what we talked about earlier with like technology. There are a lot of points around like we're doing a little too much. It doesn't need. Not everything needs to have this, but then there are moments where it's like,
I'm pretty sure my remote in there for the TV, I could do that. I think it has one of those.
But I just forget to.
I don't even do that. I'm always just like searching. I'm like, oh yeah, I forget there's that thing where you could be like, play Stranger Things, and it's like.
But I also find myself in moments where I'm like, it could just be quicker if I just
type in fucking Stranger Things.
Right,
Yeah,
just type it in.
We're so lazy, dude.
Yeah.
Even this complex, like there's a bar and restaurant on site, and there's also a pizza place, and like you could have them delivered right to your room. It's crazy. So like we're like, it's like we really do live in like the best time ever.
I would have to force myself to be like, if I want a pizza, I gotta go downstairs.
Just go order it. I would just go order it. But like, yeah, you can get it all. But it makes sense for the business because think about that. All these rooms here, and now you get to deliver to each one. Like that's like plenty of built-in business. So it's like, I don't know, good on them. But I do feel like a little bit of laziness, like.
Yeah, it's a little bit of
it's like Uber Eats and all that shit. It's like everything can just literally be delivered to our fucking.
It really can. I mean, everything is what you make it.
Yeah, but that's all right. It's business, dude. Like if you want something, it's the click of a button away.
I mean, it's a beautiful thing, but it's also you just have to figure out where your boundaries are with what you use it.
Yeah. I mean, sometimes it's fun, right? Like, shit, you guys want something? I'll order it up. Boom.
Yeah, exactly.
It gives somebody a job because that person that gets to, like, deliver it, they have a job. Yeah. Like, it's not all bad.
Yeah, like, there's, consequences, ebb and flow. There's always some other side to every action that you do. Mm-hmm. And, like, again, like, my health here, I'm a lot more sedentary.
Oh,
here versus when I was over in Thailand, I walked everywhere.
Was that part? Did you kind of like that part of the culture?
I think like everyone still.
You
like,
just felt different.
You can be sedentary. Like I don't own a car over there,
right?
And so it's like me being the tourist. Like I kind of just chose. I had the time. I was on vacation. It's not like
right. We could probably be more like that over here, but it's just not really set up for that as much, or like it's not really in the culture as much.
I'll put it this way: the weather doesn't make it easy.
Oh, it's so cold.
It being like 80 degrees outside over in Thailand, like I'll happily get outside and like start walking somewhere. But here, when it's like 30 degrees, I'm not going outside. So,
no, I know. It's like I'm not walking in this shit.
And I will also say when I walked outside, there's stores and everything like right there. It makes sense to walk.
Yeah.
Versus like here, you kind of got to get in your car.
Oh, 100%. So, dude, it's 2024, right? You know that?
Yes.
So, what do you think about? What do you think 2024 is going to be like? Is it the year of chaos, as we've been saying, or is it going to be?
I mean, did you see that Cat Williams interview?
Oh, dude, that was awesome.
That was fire.
Did you love it? I loved it. Actually, my last guest was talking about that too, because like, dude, he spit some fucking truth on that shit.
He was putting heat, and I've always loved Cat Williams, at least as an entertainer.
I'm a huge Cat Williams fan, so I kind of was like, some of it I was like, yeah, I don't really agree with him, but I was glad he was saying what he was saying.
Right, exactly. And that's the thing about Cat is like I feel like you can respect him for how he is, and I've seen his career, like his presence in the media change like over the years, whether it's become more or less. I think I've grown to appreciate people who are
because some people are like, who's Cat Williams? I'm like, who's Cat Williams? Like excuse me, fucking
Mr. Coined the term bent back paper clips for legs.
I mean, seriously, dude. You don't know who this guy is, like,
right? But no, that was a.
Well, the one special, I think me and my friends watched it. It was one where he came out and he had that song "Every Day I'm Hustling" at the beginning, and he's like, "I told you, sir, don't play that again."
Don't play that. That's my shit.
My shit. Yeah, I got this. Every day I'm hustling. My favorite part's when he's like, then you in the store and he's just like, just starts throwing it in there. Oh, dude, it's the best.
Oh man, yeah, but.
I love that guy. So I thought, you know what? If he's gonna come on, and dude, he was so funny in that interview. Like he's like talking about who was it? Chris Tucker.
Yeah, Chris Tucker.
And he's like, he's friends with Michael Jackson. He's got a little nickname for our cousin Christmas. He's like, Shannon, you got any guys that come up with a little cute nickname for you like that? He's like, no, I don't. Like,
grown man calling you
Christmas. Dude, that was fun. He was on fire in that. Like, say what you want, but he was funny too. It wasn't like he was just on there like, I'm bitter and I hate everybody. He was like being funny, dude. It was like old Cat Williams. Like,
I will say out of that interview, there were a lot of like things that you could take from what he said and just put them on T-shirts, and they were quotes. And I loved it. Like I remember that
Christmas.
Yeah, he was like, I have like three. My first job is to be funny. Second is to be, what is it? To tell the truth. And like the third is to be Gaza Strip it, and purge out everything in my way. Like I forget exactly what
dude, he's like going hard.
Well, I mean, like but the way that he like spoke metaphorically, but also
he's an intelligent dude. I don't think people realize how smart. I mean, he even was talking a little bit about that, how he would read so much as a kid, but
I don't know if he read 3,000 books.
I think that was bullshit.
But I do think he probably read through a lot of books, but maybe not.
That's called just normal, like that's exaggeration,
right? And I think he probably knows that too. He said that.
Oh yeah, well that's just like anybody taught. I mean, that's like when Trump says stuff and he's like, yeah, right. I mean, you didn't quite do that, but yeah, we get it.
Like you get the idea. Like
I did it the best. It was absolutely the best. You had the best this under me, and
so.
And it's like same with Cat. Like, I think we all do that a little bit. Like we exaggerate a little bit. Like, oh man, I was like the fucking best back then. You don't know. So I should do more of that actually.
But he was super inside. Yeah, I should read a lot.
Oh my god, he was so good. What were some other funny things he said? Like talking about like I have my professional weed roller. Of course, I have women do it. I don't want some man spit in my mouth.
Right. He's like, you want a man spit in your mouth?
You want a man spit in your mouth, Shannon? He's just like so funny.
Like that, talking about how.
You ever have a guy give you a little cute nickname like that, Shannon? I mean, he was just so funny. Dude.
That was such a good. And I think now it has.
It has over
50 million views.
When he comes out with his next special, dude, like it's gonna be huge. Like whatever people are like, oh, who's that? He seems like it's like, No, like I think it got the most views. It's got to be one. It was high, dude.
Oh yeah,
that Shannon Sharp one especially. I think he did a couple others after, but the Shannon Sharp one.
With country. What's the guy's name? I don't even remember the guy's name. It's like country somebody.
Right.
No offense to him. Like I know that he's also an entertainer and comedian, but I just can't recall his name off the top of my head.
Right.
But that doesn't have the same hype following like Cat Williams thing. And
no, that Shannon Sharp one just broke the internet. It was that was
so
epic. Honestly,
as far as 2024 is concerned, if that's how we're starting, I'm very curious to see.
I think it's gonna be a wild year.
I kind of hope that Cat does say this is the year of the reckoning. I really do.
I hope he does a special. That'd be dope.
Things kind of turn out that way because there are a lot of stuff again, we've talked about this multiple times already for us as people to reframe as communities.
Right.
Understand, figure out what are we actually doing amongst each other. And
I think it could get better in that sense, but I think it's going to be a wild year first, and then hopefully something happens where we all kind of come back together a little bit. Yeah.
I mean, it's just going to be life. It's going to be, I say just like any other year, it's going to be different than any other year before. But ultimately, I mean, there's going to be ups, there's going to be downs, there's going to be...
The number one thing is if we focus on ourselves and our goals, we're going to be fine either way, no matter what. Like, no matter what crazy shit's going on out there, So I think that's the key is, just put our energy into ourselves, our goals, building whatever it is we're trying to build, and we should be good. Well, man, we've done about 2 hours. You think... is there anything else you want to say before we sign off? Or?
Well, I've got my fight coming up February.
We should
11th,
talk a little bit about that before we go.
There's not too much to talk about.
Right. So, what's the date? Tell everybody the date.
February I think it's the 10th. Yeah,
I'll put it. It'll be up on.
It's February the 10th. I'm super excited to have another fight come under along my way. I've been training super hard.
And where's it at?
It's going to be in Bellingham, Washington.
And can people still get tickets?
I believe, yes, you can still get
tickets.
We'll
put a link to that.
Or they made the post, but they're making 5 posters and just letting people know right now.
Okay, so tickets will go on sale soon.
You can probably get them soon, but it's under Legendary Fight Promotion. So
February 10th.
Yeah, we'll do a little thing, or I'll send the information over.
There you go, dude.
Super excited to do it. I'm looking forward to competing against the guy who I'm going against. I think it's going to be a great fight. It's going to be a good test of my ability, and it's going to be a great learning experience.
And how many fights will this have been for you?
This will be number 5.
Number 5. All right, man. Well, good luck with that. That's going to be dope. And thank you so much for doing the podcast again.
Yeah, thanks for having me. And again, good luck to you and your journey
to
fitness. I know you've got a big cut coming, over the next,
we'll be very hungry.
Weeks, so
it's coming down to the wire now. So, all right, man. Thank you. And thanks, everybody, for listening. And we will see you guys next time.